Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your co-host M2 Dave, and I'm here with my two usual co-hosts. We have MK Rio and MK Tom Brady. Say hi, folks.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
This is episode 48. We're joined today with Dubson, who competed in CKK a month ago, has been in the community for quite some time, and I would say is pretty good at MK1, 2, UMK3, and most of the classics. Dubson, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
I've been enjoying Legacy Collection. Aside from all the issues and stuff, I do like how you can practice these games offline. However, the online is a whole different story. Tom, would you like to say anything?
For the online is a bit different story.
Yeah, or in general, how you feel? Because I do like practicing offline with the whole rewind feature and all that. I think that's pretty cool.
I think all of it's unplayable. I mean, and before anybody calls me negative, I just want to let you guys know, I have not streamed in a year and a half. Yet I'm probably have the most viewers for this game when I stream, usually between 180 and 250 the last couple of times. So I don't think there's anyone that actually streams with more viewers than me for Legacy Collection. And I've streamed it almost every single day since launch. So for me to come back to streaming in a year and a half, I obviously have to love it. And I think people saying, oh, Tom's being negative, I think that's just because you bought into a lot of what people have said over the years about, oh, Tom hates Mortal Kombat. The truth is, here's the fact. I have traveled more for Mortal Kombat than anyone in the history of Earth. I've spent more money on Mortal Kombat between travel and how much I've played than anyone on Earth. That's probably true. I love Mortal Kombat, especially the '90s games, and I was really looking forward to this. When I first played it on the PS5 version, because I refunded it for Steam, but I said I wanted to see what a constant. You have to understand, for people that don't understand how devastating the effects are of this game, I see people all the time saying, "Oh, well, they're going to patch it and fix it." You have to understand, the older community, your games were dead as a fucking doornail. You're holding 10-man tournaments in Drew's basement, to quote Base. That is what your scene is, basically.
Wait, hold on. I don't think it was held in Drew's basement, though. I think they had like a venue.
It's an over-exaggeration.
It's a meme? Okay.
Yeah, it's
just want to clarify.
Yeah. My point
we did take him to McLovin's house a few times.
Yeah,
we have had it at Drew's house a few times.
Yeah, my point is, you said I was you, Base. My point is that without the modern player, which are the casual players, we see that a small hardcore group, the game will never get off the ground. So it's imperative that the modern player gets into the game. If you notice, the Steam player counts are abysmal. Trying to get a game on PlayStation and some of these other games, there aren't many people playing in general, I would say. And it's because a launch like this has turned people off. You can't get the modern player into the game when you're excluding things like PlayStation, which is fighting games are primarily played on PC and PlayStation. In tournaments, they're pretty much exclusively played on PlayStation. So most fighting game players prefer PC and PlayStation format considerably more than Switch and Xbox formats. When you eliminate the console, it's a huge hit to the modern audience. And also, when you have the online being this bad, I mean, the online for Steam was broken for a couple of days. You couldn't even get any matches. It was just completely broken. And they just now patched it again for the second time. So now people can play. But I saw Fate's video. He was getting people online, and it was absolutely terrible. A Saber, who's a killer, KI1, one of the KI1 gods, one of the legends back then. He's from Arizona. I don't know if you guys know who he is. But Saber tagged me, and he showed me, he said, for every one match, and he showed a match that had a good connection, he said, but here is the next 9. And they were horrible, unplayable. And he said, there's something going on also, where even when you set your input delay to 0, it's still not accurate. He said something weird is going on that is not indicative of rollback play, that is currently broken. And it's tough to pinpoint it because the online is so awful. it's tough to even pinpoint that. When you have experiences like this as a modern player, you don't say, I'm going to come back next week. I'm going to come back next month. You say, I'm done. I saw Tweety's video. He said, I'm hearing all these issues, blah, blah, blah. I'm done. I'm skipping it. When you see modern players, they skip. Dave was one of the first people to, whenever I talk about MK11, he'll say, look, when you have a game where for the MK1, I mean, for the longest time, the word on the street for months or it's unplayable offline, I mean, online, I mean, people leave and they don't come back. Same thing with this game. It's an older product. Um, the way they display it doesn't age well. MK4 unplayable. Um, Online not very good. Offline not very good. And saying it's playable doesn't matter. Do you understand what a younger player expects? Younger players are expecting a certain quality. Just because you're an older, you play the classic games and you're just happy to be here finally. I think the older players are like, yes, finally, our time, our moment. Nobody fucking cares about this game right now because younger players don't feel that way. And while the older players seem to be okay eating slop just to have a seat at the modern day table, the younger players don't feel that. And they're like, they're not interested. Well, because to them, for you guys, this is great. Oh, yeah, I would have taken this back in the day. No, there are certain expectations that at least the offline feels good, not playable. To say to a young player, hey, how's the game? Well, the offline's playable. Online's a little worse, but that's playable too. That's an automatic skip for anyone born in like the year 2005 and up. So you have to realize how devastating this is for people to sugarcoat it like, well, give them a couple of weeks. You can't even invite your friends. Like, there's really no upside to take from this, unfortunately. And it bothers me because I was looking forward to playing.
Yeah, that's a huge blow up. Not being able to invite somebody, I don't know what they were thinking of releasing it. See, I think a lot of us would have reacted differently, and maybe it would have been such a big deal if, when you go to play it online, when you get it, when it released on Friday, and you see when you're going online or MK4, you see big letters like beta or testing or something, it would have made us feel a little bit better. But there's none of that. It feels like we paid for a $50 product, we play it, and then there's issues everywhere. And for me, I feel like I'm fortunate a bit because the PC delay didn't feel as bad as some of people in the chat were saying. And they were telling me they're like, it's so laggy. I'm like, it feels slightly off from Fightcade, but not as bad to where like I can instantly feel everything being in slow motion and difficult for me to connect. But from what I'm hearing, what Dave was telling me earlier is now there's different delays depending on what you're playing on. So on PC, it's not
correct.
as bad, but if you're playing on console, PlayStation, it's apparently a lot worse.
Yeah, let me give you the rundown. The numbers will then we'll have Dubson respond and see, somebody's been playing, perhaps more than any of us, how he feels about these numbers. So it starts with the PC. This is measured. This is credit to Noodles from on Twitter. He talks about the PC version as 22.05. This is, I believe, measured in MS, like essentially pig, like milliseconds. And then that's the PC version. Then goes down to goes up like embarrassingly to the PS5 version, which is 108.61
Wow, that's like what,
ms.
triple the
Yeah.
delay?
So what it means, guys. So 108 is about 6.5 to 7 frames of delay, and the PC probably has like 1 or 2 frames of delay, which makes sense. Kind of, which kind of if you just read what people have been saying, which how with how less the PC version lags in contrast to the PS5, which is the worst. There's also the PS4 on PS5. That one even has more delay. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I just want to give it to Dobson. Dobson, what do you think about these? Are they
yeah, I
accurate?
just want to say something real quick before we go to Dubson. This is
Go
why
ahead.
when I was playing on Friday, people in the chat were like, "No, real, it's so much worse." What do you mean? Like you're not understanding? It's because I was playing on PC, they were playing on console, and it's totally different depending what you're playing on. Wow. So having 7 frame of delay on PlayStation, then why are people saying it's not a big deal or it's playable? Because I see in the chat some people are going like, it's this isn't an issue. Like it's fine for us.
Because if you're a UMK3 player, this is your time to shine. No one has known who you are for 25 years. And
But
now.
is it confirmed? Is there really 6, 7 frames delay on PlayStation? That's massive. That's like almost unplayable.
Dude, look at the link.
And this is
that I
offline
sent.
only. This is before you even connect online. This is just offline.
Yeah, look
Well,
at the
I
link
sent
that I
you
sent.
those numbers, Rio.
Yeah,
I'm just
Dobson, what do you
confused
think?
in how people are defending that then.
Dobson, can you respond? Like, is this true from what you have been playing?
Yeah, it feels delayed to me, but to be honest with you guys, it's this game doesn't have a ranked mode. There's like zero reason for someone like me to be on it. You know what I mean? Like
100% agree with that.
I'm trying to spend my time playing high quality opponents. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to play some random Joe down the street, That's that's where I'm at, that's where someone like Rio's at too, like and like Rio said in previous episodes, like it's crucial to the economy of a fighting game. Like players need to come in and be able to play against players their level, and they need to be able to get better. So, I don't know what they were thinking with this whole online mode. They said, there's no leaderboards. There's not all that. All a fighting game needs is a proper to live on forever is a proper ranked mode and a leaderboard. Just make it so disconnects and quits count as a loss. And that's all a fighting game needs. I know they wanted to market it towards casuals. Um, they wanted people to be able to play their cousins or whatever, but you can't even invite anyone. You can't even do that. The 2006 version that was also done by Digital Eclipse had a ranked mode. It had spectator lobbies. It had way more features than this. So how are we going backwards? I just don't even understand. This is worse than the launch of Arcade Collection.
Yeah, I agree with that. Arcade Collection, while it was bad, here's the difference. When we bought Arcade Collection 10 years ago, it was $10. This is $50. Yet
So let me
it's
just say this.
yeah, go
Base
ahead.
is in the chat really quick, saying it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Let me tell you what Base is talking about. That's like me playing online MK2 with Raiden. I catch somebody with Raiden Shocker, and I say, I can't really do the actual juggle, but I can mash roundhouse and still do a good amount of damage. So it's playable. That's like what Base is saying. And that's fucking retarded.
Base might be trolling
Period.
though. I don't think he actually believes it's playable and good.
Can I?
Because he
get
also
into more
plays on
numbers?
Fightcade, so you can instantly notice the difference going from Fightcade to this. It's like, well, at least for PC, it's off by like a frame or two, but I can imagine console it's sometimes worse.
Well, let's get into the numbers. Just like I'm strictly talking about, like, I guess mainstream media for gaming.
Wait, hold on, hold on, wait. I don't want to cut you off, Dave. We're gonna talk about what you did, but real quick, Jugs is saying it's playable. Did they patch it between Friday to now? Like, did they actually fix the delay or do something to update it?
Jugs.
Because I tried last night and I couldn't get games on PC. I don't know why. I tried searching for half hour. I could not get a single match. So I haven't been able to play.
Players, you deserve everything you fucking get. Everything you get. It's playable. I don't see what the big deal is. Guys, your game is in the shitter. Nobody has cared about UMK3, MK2. They probably never cared about MK4, even when the era was out, ever for 25 years. Even the new era of here's the real deal. Nobody has cared about UMK3 since 1996. That is the real truth. That's why you have 10 to 20 man tournaments. And the fact of the matter is, in order to get these games off the ground, you are going to we need more modern players than we need bases. Because modern players have the numbers. For the game to get off the ground, there can always be another base, another Rio, another Jugs, another me, another Dream TR, another, whoever, right? There can always be more good players. What there can't be is 1,000 of these newer players. One of you, them, me, or whoever, regardless of what game we're playing, does not help the game. If we don't get these players on the game, not just the classics, Mortal Kombat goes in a dark period for the next 2 years. Like we go to the dark ages for the next 2 years until the next MK game comes out. Like it's not a good. I mean, like I don't know. I'm really bothered by this.
Yeah, and
Dude,
I feel like. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought the Digital Eclipse Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection like wasn't good either. You know, I think that's why Capcom started doing their own in-house projects like with the fighting collections, and it's just I don't understand why Midway or NRS just doesn't do that too.
I kind of wish NRS would help them and I guess help work on them to create like a Combat League ranked and do all that the current new NRS games have, because that would go a long way in making this good. Because even when they do fix the delay, fix the online, again, a lot of players like what Dubson said earlier. What are we going to be playing? I get on to do ranked or whatever. Who am I going to be matching with? I don't want to play quick play with random people. I want to play an actual Combat League. You know, if I have a few hours to play every night, I want to make sure it's quality matches, not just random matches waiting to find an opponent where I could actually start learning the game. This sets a lot of people back, and it's not just me. A lot of people need something like this. For all the people that want to take the game seriously and become good at it, you need a ranked system to help you play like that. And Dave, sorry for cutting you off earlier. You were touching on something that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I'm just looking at, again, the mainstream scores from mainstream gaming outlets. It says Game Informer 8.75 out of 10. GameSpot 9 out of 10. Some of
9
these
out
are,
of 10. These are insanely good
That's
reviews.
just because they're just playing like offline, you know, single player and
some
stuff
of
like
these,
that.
yeah, exactly. Just
They're
to
not
play.
looking at the online at all.
Yeah, so the Game Informer one is based on the PS5. The GameSpot one is based on PC. The IGN is 8 out of 10 on PC. Some of these are based. One is also based on Nintendo. So it's Nintendo Life 7 out of 10. Push Square 9 out of 10. PS5. Um, Daily Mirror 4 out of 5. So so the game, like, at least from these mainstream magazines, has actually been scored, excuse me, fairly well, in contrast to the community outlash, which again, in my opinion, is 100% justified. But I think that kind of goes into the disconnect rather between, what people like us probably, how we perceive the game, in contrast to how just a mainstream person who just wants to, I don't know, turn on the game and go into the documentary, or very different standards. I think for both sides here.
Yeah, casual
Really,
people, they're not even always going to feel the delay. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's another thing. When you haven't been playing the game like that and you come back to it, you're like, there's nothing for you to really compare to. You don't have any past experiences out of recent to be like, this feels off, or I'm not used to this, or why am I dropping this here? So a lot of people, it's going to go over their head. They're not going to notice that. But really quickly, to address Base Ray, he said, you only play Detroit and Bigs anyhow. It shouldn't even bother you to have ranked. Show me in the last 15 years you played anyone else. Here's the thing. I played Detroit and Bigs because they invited me. So I was like, yeah, let's run some games. However, Base, and you were there for the last stream I run, I was playing random people online. Even before that, I played a lot of random people online for a few hours. I even played a huge setting. It's No Doubt. This notion that I only want to play Detroit and Bigs and no one else is completely false. And if they do end up releasing a Combat League, hopefully one day, I'll show you. I'll be streaming every night and grinding Combat League. That's the thing. So right now, you kind of have no option. So when they do want to play, yes, of course I'm going to want to play them. Why not,
And on that note, Rio, like on the ranked note, I've heard you like compare like a Fightcade style rank system to like a ranked queue or like a Combat League. I think they both have their advantages and disadvantages. Like sometimes it is nice to just have one opponent you play like a first to 5 or first to 10 or whatever rank set on Fightcade, and you don't have to find different opponents, because sometimes that ranked queue you can either get the same person over and over, someone with a bad connection, you can get someone who's not that good or whatever.
Yeah, and also, well, the problem with being able to select your opponent is some people could cherry pick. So if I see someone
That's
like,
true.
dude, this guy's on, he could beat me, I'm not going to challenge him. I'm only going to pick and challenge people that I can beat to inflate my rank. That's also something I don't like at all. I think having a match queue is a better overall, because it just, creates matches that you're able to play back and forth constantly. And yeah, sometimes you do get the same player repeatedly, depending who's on.
So this is confusing to me. Jugs in one sentence said, I never said it was good. Next paragraph. Playable to me means connection is good. Pretty good. I thought you said it wasn't pretty good. Playable means connection is pretty good. Like, there's not much difference between online and offline as far as difference in input delay. There's definitely a lot of input delay, though. Jugs, the end of that paragraph is completely contradictory to the beginning. There's definitely a lot of input delay. Connection is pretty good. If there's a lot of input delay, it doesn't matter what the connection is. The online experience is still garbage. So then it's not playable. I mean, like, there are two contractor, and like, I don't understand. It's like on one breath, you have these players saying it needs to be fixed. It's not that bad. But if you say, yeah, or they say it needs to be fixed, it's pretty bad. And then you're like, yeah, it is pretty bad. Well, it's playable. I don't mean it's that bad. Like, dude.
Oh, wait, hold on. Just to be accurate here, does Jugs have it on PC, or is he talking from console perspective? Because if he plays on PC, I could see why he finds the delay not to be an issue.
Well, Rio, even your video, it was obvious there was a delay. It was obvious.
Yeah, but I also mentioned UMK3 felt the best. And I think with WaveNet, Biggs brought up in when he was on my stream that in some games you can't choose your delay. Like WaveNet does not have that. So when you play WaveNet, you have like 4 frames of built-in delay. So when you go to WaveNet and try that, you can notice like a difference. Like it's harder to do combos compared to UMK3. But UMK3 feels the best out of all of them.
Ultimately, to me personally, I don't think any of these discussions matter. I'm not saying we shouldn't discuss them in the podcast. That's what we're here for. I think Tom is 100% right. We literally had somebody on the last episode talking about how you should bring a cabinet if you want to play. I don't look. I think we should respect our elders. Like there should be no disrespect to anybody, but we should make fun of people who have such, you know, out of the contemporary, such backward mentalities that like just are not compatible with the modern game, with the modern gaming base. Excuse me. So I think this is how I perceive this Legacy Collection. It had a huge opportunity to bring in players, right? It failed. It completely failed. I didn't buy the game. Tweety didn't buy the game. Many other people that I know didn't buy the game. But just because, dude, you have to have at least private matches. Like, how are you gonna release something like this without giving us the ability to at least invite the people, that are on our level that we want to play? And then you have no ranked. To give it credit, practice mode sounds good from what I've seen. So I just think that it was a huge missed opportunity to build upon the scene, old players, new players, and anything else in between. It was missed, and I think this is people who are gonna play this. They're gonna play Ultimate no matter what anyway. But it's not about those people. And like Tom said, those people. 20 people are going to play it in their basement. It's about, can you build a new scene, new as in terms of like, can you bring in new players who are actually going to play this? And sometimes even some of the guest appear pro and says, yeah, I don't care about new players. I just play whatever I want to play. That's fine. And I think that kind of also speaks to their mentality. Again, I disagree. I think this is a waste of a discussion. I think this thing is going to flop majorly.
Wait, hold on. But it's very important. It's very important to express anything that has to get fixed immediately when the game is new, where they're working on it. Because if we wait months to say this, and some of this ends up becoming a problem, they don't fix it. That's 10 times worse for the game. They may never, go back to fix it.
Have been saying it. I forgot who it was. Ketchup and Mustard literally released a video essentially apologizing, saying, we kind of missed it. I don't want to make personal attacks. Look, they did what they did.
Okay, so for what I'm hearing right now is the game is solid on PC in terms of being able to play it with not much delay. Possibly Xbox, because I haven't heard anybody say anything about Xbox yet. But it's not good on PlayStation. But even if the game is playable, there's no ranked system. So a lot of the competitive players have no way to grind or learn the game. So even with all the fixed, let's say the gameplay is perfect, even better than Fight Kid. You can't really play the game.
If a modern game came out with this kind of input delay offline and the online being this garbage, nobody would say it's playable. Why do you classic players eat shit?
Okay, well, to be fair, from their perspective...
And I was a classic player before pretty much all of them.
Yeah, but Tom, you have to think where they came from. They played Xbox Live UMK3, which was terrible. Then they went to Arcade Collection, which was also terrible. This is the best thing they've ever had. So to them, it's like, best version of a game. Again, but you're right. But compared with other fighters, it's missing so many features. It's actually laughable.
Jugs, everyone's been complaining, but in this chat, there's a lot of I'm reading a lot of it's playable, it's playable, it's playable.
Tom, you already know why. Like Again, I don't mean to be rude, but
What are
like
you talking about?
ultimate players haven't played a fighting game in over like 25 years. Again, Jox is the perfect example. I don't want to pick on anybody. I get along with him on Test Your Might. It's like every time a new fighting game comes out, Jox will play for 2 months. We're like, man, I'm gonna go back to Ultimate, the real game. It's like I mean,
That's
looks like
fine. I
what
mean, he
else you
loves
got?
Look, there's
Ultimate.
nothing wrong
It's
with
okay.
specializing in
Nothing
one
wrong
game.
with
There's
that.
nothing wrong with
I
that.
know.
Nothing wrong with
There's
that.
But
There's nothing wrong with
like,
that.
you guys have to at the same
Maybe he
time you
likes
guys
Ultimate.
I
Maybe
mean,
he loves Ultimate.
not having a ranked mode to me is
Or
just.
what?
I'm kind of waiting till they add a ranked mode so I can start playing it a lot. Because right now, it's really not enjoyable to get on and play quick match with random people.
again, the point, Rio, is the opportunity was missed to mainstream this to modern, to newer modern players, even people like me who are older who wanted to give it a shot. But there's absolutely no reason to play
Yeah,
it
I know. And as
until
soon
they.
as you heard the news, you said I'm not buying it anymore, which is
Yeah,
But
and
a lot
also
of
I don't
people were in
want
your shoes. A lot of people ended up not buying it. A lot of people ended up refunding it even.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to reward bad behavior. I already did it once with MK1 upon release, which was also a disaster. And yes, I do think the game has improved, obviously. And again, for the people who want to play this Legacy Collection, I really hope, I pray that these issues get resolved. Will they? I don't know. And how many people will still stick around? I mean, we know who will stick around, but like again, it's about building. It's about attracting new players that I don't think it's going to happen at this point. But again, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, so let me ask you this question then. And this is for all you guys. We'll have our guests go first. How long do you guys think they have to fix the game before people decide to move on?
Not long at all.
Like if you had to give it a time frame.
For the reasons you guys have already said. I mean, this was to get people into the new game, into the games again, and it just totally missed the mark. It just launched like a dumpster fire, dude. So, I don't know. I give it like a month.
Would you say after Christmas it's over? Like people aren't going to be going back at all to buy it or check it out?
It was over yesterday. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They're not coming back.
Yeah, it was
They're not
over
coming back.
yesterday, dude.
It's
When it
over.
launched like that, it was over.
It's
It was
over.
over, dude. How could you launch it like that? It's like
It's
a
over.
beta, dude. You charge $50, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's
This
the
is
thing.
terrible. It's
And even
pathetic.
yeah, when you boot up the game, it doesn't even say "Hey, beta" or "Things are currently in progress." None of that to let you know. It almost like assumes you as the player that this is like what you're going to be getting on launch. Like this is the product that you just pay $50 for.
The
Is
whole
it
way
over
that
for
they
the older
acted,
players? No,
it
it's not over. But to
they're on
get
5K.
anyone new into the game, it's not going to happen. Again, people are going to say I'm being negative. I just want you. So look, I can't speak for everyone. Let me just speak for me. I was really looking forward to this because, like, I played this game in the arcade era, and I'm a huge Sub-Zero guy. But man, if there was ever an MK2 tournament, Jax. I mean, for casuals in the arcade, I would play Shang Tsung a lot because when I've been streaming a lot, people can see that I know every morph, every whatever. I used to play Shang in casuals or Sub-Zero, but and I was just looking forward to being able to just play Sub-Zero and MK2 for fun, or UMK3. Like I didn't like UMK3. I mean, for reasons. I mean, the glitch tabs do fix a lot of the reasons why I didn't like it, but I mean, try to get a modern fighting game player with two people whiffing a glitch jab right next to each other. And in every fighting game, that's death. And in UMK3, it's just Tuesday.
That's why you want to play Trilogy, brother. You want to play classic Sub-Zero, and you want to play Trilogy where the glitch jabs aren't as much of a factor.
No, it doesn't really matter. I just think,
But also another issue, we didn't even get that version in this collection. It's
Right.
another blow
It's so sad, man. So
yeah,
such
but
a
I
on
mean,
64 MK4, no PS1 MK4, no on 64
but it's tough
Trilogy,
because
no
people will
MK
never
Gold.
play it. People will never get into like UMK3 because it's like they see this, they hear whatever about it being playable, not being playable, and they're like, I'll skip it. And they just see it being played. They say, oh, it looks silly, and they'll never understand it. So they're just going to go by how it looks and just say, I guess I'm not missing much. It's not playable. They'll never understand it. The game. And for me, I was, again, looking forward to playing UMK3 without having to play Cabal every 2 seconds. I'll just play Sub-Zero I know that he's mid-tier. I don't really care. I just wanted to play for fun and for enjoyment, and I was really looking forward to that. And it's just not fun or enjoyable. Like it's just so weird to see people talk about it from like the standpoint of a 1995 competitor when most of these people weren't even alive in 1995. They just got into the game in the 2000s. And it's just like, oh, you got to adapt. It's playable. You can whatever. I mean, again, no younger players. You got to understand how. First of all, the game rubbed everyone the wrong way because with 10 hours left before launch, Digital Eclipse put out a statement that said, by the way, your only option is quick play. So first of all, what they did was very sneaky in that in previous
sneaky,
interviews,
dude.
Wait,
The whole way they handled this whole situation was terrible, scummy, dude.
did
Terrible.
they wait to announce that last second when we were all
Yes,
like buying it?
10
They didn't
hours
tell us like
before
a month
launch.
ahead of time, so we knew what we were getting
No,
into.
10 hours before
That's a
launch,
bit
they made
scummy.
that statement. Now here's what Digital Eclipse did do, because I went back and checked because somebody mentioned this to me. In interviews, they would say things like, there's not going to be ranked, there's not going to be lobbies. We'll have features like quick play and things like that. So playing off of, so they didn't explicitly say you could directly connect to a player and invite your friends, but they played off the fact that because they didn't say you couldn't do that, that we would assume that it would have the basic features like quick play and direct connect, and we would get ranked in lobbies and online arcade later. They played a very sneaky play on words, and if anyone tries to deny that, if they were very clear that the only option you would have is quick play, they wouldn't need to make a statement 10 hours before the game came out saying, by the way, keep in mind, only quick play is going to be available. They did that because they knew if they didn't say anything and the game launched and that was the only option, they would get burned to the ground. So they tried to mitigate it by saying, hey, by the way, this, etc. So it was very, very sneaky how they did that. So if you're a new player, you get the game, you already know you can't play your friends on other platforms. Then you realize now I can't play my friends at all unless we try to queue up over and over again in a quick match. And then there's offline input delay. There's online play isn't very good. And then you say, hey, this doesn't feel good. And you get told, it's playable. That just makes people say, shut the fuck up. Like you high, it's playable. Okay. And when people say it's playable, players lose hope that anything is going to get done. Because the problem is,
Right.
if people are saying it's playable, it's like, well, who's right? Is it playable or is it not playable? Well, Digital Eclipse, if it's playable, then they can take a little longer. Could be a few weeks before we get a patch that fixes all this.
Right. Or they'll think it's good and be done.
I mean, I just don't I don't know.
But Tom, yeah, I think you're pushing. The people who think that this is playable, they're gonna play Ultimate no matter what. They're gonna play it on Fight Kit. They're gonna play it if it has pieces of turd sprinkled on it. Like, it makes no difference. I think I agree with you 100%. I just think you have a slightly different approach, and I do think you're slightly mistaken. They're gonna play this game no matter what. That's not.
But
gonna
wait a
change.
minute, them going back to Fight Kit, it means this product's not that good because otherwise they'd be playing this.
Well, I mean, look, man. If you like Ultimate, you're gonna play it, and if that's the only thing you play, and you think the modern games are trash or whatever, that's your game. You're gonna probably wait it out. And I think improvements, obviously, as we know, are coming. To what extent we will see, I think the more interesting question is, has this done anything to shake up the Ultimate scene in terms of like actually building it, building interest, catching new players' attention?
Dave, how can it shake up the scene? They
without a
had to
rank
cancel
system, you
tournaments. They even
Yeah,
had to
I know,
cancel
exactly.
offline tournaments. They had to cancel some tournaments because there's no way to play it.
No,
Like-
exactly. But that's what I mean. It's just like that's
And
the
also, with
question.
no ranked, all these new people playing it, how are they supposed to get good at the game? By
There's zero
doing
way to
quick
grow
match
the
with
scene
random
with
people?
no ranked or
It's not-
leaderboards or nothing like that.
Yeah, you don't get good at a game by playing quick play with random people. The way you get good at a game nowadays is you play rank, you grind your way to the top. That's how you learn the game. With that not being in here, that means that all these new players that are getting into it that want to learn the game, there's no way for them to get good and challenge their current best players because the game does not give them the tools to learn the game and become better. That's a massive problem.
I'm agreeing with you, and I think that's how we should evaluate the game. and not so much with Tom's standard. Not that it's wrong. I think it's accurate, but like these people that that played the game whatever 25 years ago or longer, like they're gonna play no matter what. Like it doesn't matter what quote unquote how flawed it is because Tom, they're telling you it's playable. Like they're gonna play it. I'm referring to it's about the again, not to beat a dead horse, but it's about the new players. It's about catching people who've never played the game before. Again, younger players, older players, or anything in between, and the game has failed to do so.
Yeah, so I want to ask you guys, how much has it sold? Do you guys know how many copies it sold on console? Has it sold 1 million already? Like, what's the player base looking like? Is there a lot of people on it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if either WB.
But I'm saying, are there any
or-
sites where you guys are able to track the amount of players on a game for console, PlayStation? Don't they have stuff like that?
Well, I can look in Wikipedia real quick because that's where I got the scores from there. In terms of how the game was perceived at a mainstream level, but I don't think they have released any uh you know data as far as what initial sales are concerned.
Because I'm curious to see how much it's sold and what is the current player base like? Like, how many people right now are playing on PlayStation? Like, is it like 100K, 75K? Like, I'm very curious on the numbers.
Yeah, we don't there is no data on initial sales from what I can see.
Tom, when you were
Uh,
playing, was it quick for you to find a match, or were you having to wait minutes? It wasn't quick on PlayStation?
Very difficult for me to find a match. And that's like MK2, MK3. People on, UMK3 will say, I got a match. But last I checked, UMK3 is one of a billion games on there.
I actually tried to play last night base, and I could not find a single game because I wanted to test out the new patch they released on PC. And
Well,
I
to
could
be
not find a
fair, I
single
think-
game. Like, I don't know what was going on, but I was waiting for like 30 minutes. I was searching a game while playing a different game, and I still didn't find a game. So I was like,
Well, yeah,
did people just stop playing on PC?
Well, I think that might be. I think obviously, well, not obviously, but we can reasonably assume that more, there are probably more customers on the consoles, especially the PS5 because it has sold
Yeah, that's
more.
why I was wondering what the console numbers were, because I think on PC it's less popular.
Yeah, so I don't, PC probably has the lowest numbers. Again, if I had to guess, it's not a fact. So I wouldn't be surprised that, when you say I couldn't find a game, like, well, that's probably why. And the game obviously is a disaster on the PS5 right now because of its input lag, especially for those people who actually are trying to play it.
Yeah, so real quick to our next topic, if you guys don't mind. I want to talk a bit about WaveNet. And I'm seeing a lot of mixed stuff about it, but from some of the competitor players that tried it, like I remember when I talked to Biggs about it, he was saying it's completely awful and bad and it's not good. And I can see why he thinks that way. Like he was saying that, they tweaked some characters' balance. I personally think there's potential behind it. I don't think it's as bad as people are making it seem. It seems like the people behind it, they did nerf Cabal, but Cabal isn't as nerfed as you would think. Like they really only nerfed his spin and neutral. It's still fast after your opponent's hit. Like you do a jump kick, you still do combos easily. But his spin's a little bit slower. His fireballs seem the same. People are saying that they added something where you can't do instant fireballs with Cabal and Katana, and they got rid of them. But when I was testing it, I had no issue doing Katana's instant fan or Cabal's instant fireball. So I don't know what they're talking about regarding that. But they did also nerf Ermac. They made his telelift count as a hit now for combo, so he loses some damage. But it's nothing extreme. Like his damage went from like if you anti somebody, instead of you getting 80 now, you get like 60 to 70. So it's not, it's not like the character's all of a sudden bad. They didn't really make any top tier, low tier all of a sudden. And they added something to Sindel's flight cancel where there's more delay to it now. I don't play Sindel, so I can't confirm if they've removed her infinite or if they made it just harder to do now compared to UMK3. And yeah, Nightwolf wasn't touched. Melina wasn't touched. Human Smoke wasn't touched. Yeah, Reptile wasn't touched. He still has an infinite. Kung Lao and Striker lost their infinites, so they become worse.
Kung Lao can still do it, just a different way.
Yeah, you have to do, I'm guessing, the high punch dive kick, 100% combo.
Right.
Yeah, high punch.
Yeah, but in the corner, you can't do his spin infinite anymore because it's disabled after 3 hits, I believe.
Right. But that was pretty dirt anyway, so.
Yeah, but I mean, the coolest change they did, in my opinion, was they made the jab work like MK4. If you block a low punch, you get pushed out. So now there's no more easy corner jab infinite. Now you have to do a high punch to do it, which is a little bit harder.
Right.
So I don't see how the game is so much worse. And they also changed relaunches. They nerfed that. But when you think about it, even though Human Smoke didn't get nerfed directly, they nerfed him indirectly a lot. Like, he was one of the characters that banked on relaunches a lot because he could relaunch everybody. He was also one of the characters that was so easy for him to get any kind of conversion or hit near the corner, do a spear, and then put you in a block infinite. Like, he had the best way to convert into that. So with those two things being nerfed, even though he wasn't touched directly with a nerf, he got hit the hardest, I think.
Yeah, but he's so good that he's still that good.
Yeah, he probably is the best.
For
Probably
sure.
him number one, and then but I can still see Cabal being top 5 though. Like, I don't think he's as bad as people are
Yeah,
saying.
they only nerfed the speed of the startup of the spin if it's grounded. So if they jump or do anything else, it's still the normal speed.
Oh wow! See, I thought it was when they're in a hit reaction, like getting hit by something, the speed's normal. So if they're airborne, it's still fast, still the best anti-air basically. Yeah, that means I guess Cabal's still top 3 then. I don't know what people were saying because I read some comments saying they killed Cabal, like he's whatever, and it's just Human Smoke.
Well, again, part of the problem is because nobody can play, nobody can test the stuff and put it to the test at a high
Yeah,
level.
That's true.
that's a great
Like,
point,
it's
Dave. It's
information.
so early and like it's so
Yeah.
buggy. I haven't even really got my hands on the game. I'm a master with the instant air fireballs and everything in this game, and I could tell you if it is or isn't in the game. But because I know how it is, I don't even want to touch it.
Plus, the
I
training
know
mode
that-
is terrible in WaveNet compared to MK3. There's a lot of features missing. They didn't add all that for WaveNet.
Well, you know what's weird is that I don't think they added strings for any of the games. I was watching, I believe, Max's video, and they just didn't add, they added the special moves, obviously, but like all the strings are missing. And from what I understand, there's no frame data, right? So,
Oh
man,
yeah,
man,
that's another huge issue. You go to your
there's-
move list, it only shows you 3 specials and no strings. So it's like, wait, what are my
Yeah.
strings? How did they forget that? That's part of a move list.
For sure.
well, yeah, let me just say a couple of comments. Obviously, our audience cannot see it on Twitch, but so we do have people like Biggs, Dad, like reliable sources, Conqueror on Test Your Might, like
Drew
documenting.
also, because he's in the chat, he's saying that ensnare fireballs were. Where's his message? Sorry, I actually hit my mouse and my thing shut up. Okay, but he's saying ensnare fireball starts slightly higher in WaveNet, apparently. So I'm wondering if Cabal can hit anybody now with his ensnare fireball. I'll have to test that later.
I did hear a couple people say that it was altered.
Yeah, the problem again is since
No
this is-
ranked and no proper training mode
Yeah,
because
it's
the
like
training is pretty bad in WaveNet.
it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult to put these changes to the test.
There's not even
by
a
people.
leaderboard.
Yeah,
Even
by
if you just
people.
want to track casual matches, there's not even a leaderboard.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's difficult to put these changes to the actual test because the people who actually do know how to play this game. Well, guess what? You can't. There are no private lobbies, so good luck.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy?
God.
Somehow the WaveNet has been extracted from Legacy Collection and it's on MAME now. So I wonder if Fightcade's going to get it. Once Fightcade gets WaveNet, then we're going to actually be able to play it and do matches with people and see how good it really is over time.
Oh my God! Like, why do people have to do this? This is so sad.
And people keep asking us if we're going to run it at CKK.
I mean, well, you know what's crazy? If you guys do that, I saw people posting things like the game is crashing offline. They're running into these weird issues offline where they're playing, the game freezes or the game crashes or randomly lags here and there for literally no reason. Have you guys seen any of that or had that happen to you?
I haven't got my hands on it enough, and like we told everyone that's asked, like time will tell. It's kind of a similar situation with like Capcom versus SNK 2. They just released the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, and in the ranked mode, they actually play the EO mode, and they removed the glitch jab, or excuse me, the roll cancels. And so it's kind of a similar situation where the community's been playing the original release for like 30 years, and now you release a new version with a different version, and so the community's kind of asking questions.
It's almost like, well, who was this for? For the people that played it or for the people that didn't play the game? And if
Exactly.
that's the case, then that's odd because, like, why would you re-release an older game for people that didn't play the older game? It's like for a new audience that never played it.
Well, it also brings up the point that you guys have brought up before too, is like, this would be a more this would be the up-to-date version of the game.
Yeah. Because WaveNet's
Yeah,
different. WaveNet's the version never got released. It's not like they just made it 5 minutes ago to put in here to
Right.
be like, let's, appease the crying a bit.
In today's
Sure.
day and age, they can patch games. Back then it wasn't like that. It wasn't even close.
Real quick, somebody tried. I don't know. He didn't specify the location, but I quote: "We hosted an offline tournament for Ultimate on the Legacy Collection at the local meetup this weekend. The game froze mid-match about 10 times, 4 times in one set, 1 time after freezing, and apparently it also reversed people's controls."
Are you joking?
I'm not.
This was
I'll
during a
link
tournament and they ran Legacy Collection? Okay, then
Yeah, I'll link
it's
you.
shocking to me that people are saying that this is good then and it's fine or it's playable or whatever. The game is literally freezing even offline. You don't even have to be connected online for the game to fall apart.
Yeah, everything I'm
This is
saying, I'm not making up.
inexcusable.
I'm linking people to their profile, and and
Imagine-
again, Test Your Mind is like an old website. People usually don't go there to spread rumors. Like, it's essentially old school players. So everything that I'm saying, and including the numbers for the ping, I'll link everything on Discord. You guys can see for yourselves.
Well, people in the know that historically, when they release something like an arcade collection, you should probably be hesitant running that in a tournament immediately. You should probably give it some time, test it out. Otherwise, you should probably run on like more tested hardware
Yeah, like Fight Kid or MAME.
or
Just to keep
OG
it safe.
cabinet
Yeah, because you
or
don't
OG
want
board with converters and options to hook up different controllers and things like that.
Yeah, the last thing you want is somebody traveling in a plane to come play a tournament UMK3. They get off the flight, they pay their venue fee, do all that, play, and then the game freezes, tournament match. That's just a terrible
like-
experience. That would make people not want to
Right.
play the game anymore, not come back.
Like a super gun setup, which is just going to run an arcade board with, many options for controllers or just something more reliable and tested.
Yeah, so Tom, I want to ask you this, because
Yeah.
Tom has apparently been getting attacked by somebody because he made videos talking about the issues in this product, and now like he's been getting attacked by like stalkers that are personally attacking his phone in this net. Tom, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, Mike Hollow is going to do the video. He's going to use the voicemails.
So wait, so they even left you voice emails? And who is this? Someone was like a voice changer, or is it someone you like a familiar voice?
So what happened is around like 1 a.m. all through the night, my phone was just going off, was buzzing. I had it on silent, and my girlfriend is like, "Hey, your phone's going off." Like she thought maybe it might be someone of my family or someone like that needs to get a hold of me because they're calling and calling and calling.
Yeah. How many
And
calls
it just
was it?
says 100 million, literally. I Mike has the call log. I showed it to the police as well. It's from there's no number. It says no call ID, so I couldn't block it. And then it was sending me these random texts that was just crazy. And then the voicemail. So I went to the police this morning. What else? I mean, and they were like, I gave them everything. But the voicemails were crazy. The guy's trolling hard. He's like, I'm one of those MK shills, Tom Brady. The guy's talking like crazy, like a complete lunatic.
Did you know?
He's like, "Yo, I got my."
So you couldn't
I got your number from
recognize his voice from
Maximilian.
anywhere, because it sounds like someone who knows you.
No idea who it is. It was just like crazy. So let me just say this: we have a content creator who says they were harassed and abused.
Who was that?
Ketchup said
By
he
the
was
same
abused
by the same person that's doing it to you?
No. He was abused over the weekend for like, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say that? Then this, I guess, on the opposite end, someone else coming after me. So it's obviously on both sides, whether you're pro or whatever, against. I'm not even against it, but like, it's obviously gotten way too extreme. Obviously, like, this is stupid.
How did they get your number? Like, did you post it online somewhere, or did somebody tell them? Because then it was somebody. that told them your
The,
number
the, the
so they
the
could do
voice
this?
messages, Jugs. The voice messages. He was like, because he was like one of those shills, Tom Brady. He was talking about in your video.
That's
So
crazy that
just
someone's
yeah.
personally coming after you because you made
Don't
videos
know how they got
discussing the
my number.
issues.
Yeah. So
Well, they have to
uh,
get your number from one of your friends then. That's the only way.
I
If you
I
don't
don't
have your number
know.
online.
And of course, the internet was like probably M2 Dave gave it to him, because the internet's stupid. There again.
Is this true,
Yeah,
Dave?
it's always up to date. Tom
Did you
Brady,
give out
yeah,
the
it was
number?
me
Yeah,
all
yeah. Why would you
along,
do that?
Brady was me.
Yeah, yeah, right. So stupid.
No, but this
No,
is
no,
insanity though that someone is doing this just because you made videos saying, "Hey guys, there's issues with Legacy Collection." Like that to me is absurd. That somebody would go out of their way. They must have a lot of free time to be able to do
I'm
that.
not
Yeah,
surprised at all. When
yeah.
people
So
were, when people, just Tom, real quick, I'm sorry. Like when people, if you guys remember like the season 2 Tekken 8 patch, like there were threats on people. Like if you defended that patch and was like, you know what, I like the high power levels, and somebody told FDX like, say that at a tournament, and don't turn your back. Like like
Are you
there was.
joking?
Yeah, I'm not.
no, it's
I'm
true.
serious. This
True.
was
Over
documented.
patches and Tekken?
Yeah, so people, yeah, I mean,
But,
I think people out there are crazy people out there, and you guys better be careful with whom
but
you
I don't
connect
understand. So
with.
wait, hold on. This literally makes no sense. Why would somebody want to cause harm on someone else because a game got updated with a change and you don't like the change, but they do? Like that literally makes no sense to me. Like, what does it have to do with the player?
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's okay to troll, but like, don't harass people, don't threaten, people, like physically. I'm all about, like having fun and but like I think certain people, I think, go way too far with that stuff. You have every right to, even this legacy collection. If you like it and you think it's playable, I don't think you should be threatened. I think that's crazy. Obviously, I think, uh, and the older I get, obviously, we just become more mature, and I know I have, you know, some of the stuff that I said about MK11 and you know, even about Crimson and Rio, I wish I could take back. The personal stuff. I still stand, obviously, by my opinion. MK11 is a piece of dog shit, but like if you enjoy the game, you should play it. You should build a scene. I think that's the mature, that's the moral, that's the right perspective. And I feel the same way about Legacy. I think it's a disaster. I don't know why anybody would spend $50 on this, but like you have every right to still play the
Well, to
game.
be fair, we didn't think it was going to be like this when we bought it for $50.
No,
A
no,
lot
no,
of us,
absolutely. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming you guys. Just like, I'm not blaming anybody for anything. I'm just saying if you think, even if you think the game is flawed and you still want to have fun with it, that's on you, man. You have every right to do so. I think that's your decision.
yeah. Well, the problem is the reason because I saw Base saying Rio isn't really playing that much. Why is he complaining? Well, it's because I do want to play it. I do want to play more of Legacy, but it's hard to play the game when there's no rank. Like I go in, what do I do? Just quick play random people and hope I play against someone who knows how to play the game.
Yes, I got it. Jug just talking about the netcode being playable. I'm not even sure the netcode is playable because the sound isn't glitching. What's causing the sound problem is the netcode is lagging to a point where the sound is glitching. I mean, like I mean, at least that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like. I mean, that was a problem on MAME as well. I mean, it's tough to say. Like, I'm not a netcode engineer, so I have no idea. Let me not speak like I'm speaking in fact. But
Yeah,
really,
when they added UMK3 to Fightcade over 2 decades ago, they had the same issues with sound glitches and all that.
yeah, I mean, really, to me, what is so confusing is, and I think is so damaging, is when you have so many people saying there's problems and so many people fighting back and saying there's not problems, it's playable. I don't know what everybody's talking about. Think of how confusing this has to be to digital as clips. Is the input delay bad or is it not? Is the online playable or is it not? This is the same problem we have even in like old MKs. MK1, is this a problem or is it not? Is it a problem? Are people dooming or are they not? It's very confusing to developers, especially during MK1's first year when myself and Dave were like, "Hey, this is a problem." And I don't understand why this happens. It's very like when there's an obvious issue, especially when it comes to online. Like whatever honestly, a game can have offline that's terrible, but if the online is good, it has a better chance of surviving than if the offline is great and the online is terrible. Like in the modern era, priority one is online. People have got to be able to reach out from their home to play each other. That's priority one. So when the online is this bad, regardless of how good the offline may or may not be for some people, the online being like this is terrible. For like 2 or 3 days on Steam, you couldn't even play anybody. It was broken. Like, can you imagine you buy this game on Steam and you can't play your friends? You can't even get a match because it's broken. You're like, ah, fuck this. I'm going to return it. You're not going to say 2 weeks from now, say, I wonder if that's fixed. Let me buy the game again. Like, you're done. You moved on. Like, the online being like these type of problems is a real pain. Base says the online is totally playable. Base is wrong. We know on Steam where if I were to say to you, where is the majority of the UMK3 community? On Steam or PS5?
On Steam, obviously, because of Fightcade.
So if you're in if you can't get a single match for 3 days because the online is broken on Steam, is the online for MK Legacy Collection good or is it bad?
Absolutely not. It's terrible.
Then Base is factually wrong. It's not good.
Well, what Base said is the online is playable other than the audio. I would be fine if it's this way as the final product. I'll just mute my TV. But having to mute your TV when you play a game in rank to me is just
terrible, man.
How does that? Yeah, how does that get a pass?
I mean,
you can't listen to the game.
Look,
option. That's terrible.
Maximilian plays it on PS5. He says, "This is not it, dude. Here's Base." He just needs to adapt. No.
Some people play better with the sound, so telling people to adapt and not use your ears to me is crazy.
Honestly, I respect Base a lot. But man, Base is on some old school shit that doesn't work anymore. It's playable to me, man. Base literally said on Twitter to me, you just got to dumb shit down, right? I got no problem doing it. Dude, you cannot do that. Like that logic does not exist today. That's like the logic people used to use on X-Band for like Genesis. Like you can't apply that logic today. Base is like, hey, dog, I just dumbed my shit down and I'm shelling out babies. Base, to who? The 10 people that are playing? Like, no one is playing. Bro, the Steam current count was like 200, 245. That's not good.
Already down to 200 people?
Good. Yeah, concurrent.
What? It literally just came out like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Their player base is only 200 people on Steam?
Yeah, that's usually the concurrent numbers.
Yeah, but they didn't make this collection for the online play, guys. They made it for, documentaries and single player players.
It's so depressing because the 200 people playing it, that also factors the people playing it single player offline. Like, it's not even 200 people online playing it.
I mean, look, I noticed the input delay pretty well.
Yeah,
offline.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I notice it. I notice it. I definitely notice it online. I played MK2 online yesterday. It was awful. It was awful. I mean, it was a miserable experience. I don't know.
I don't know
It
how
wasn't very
anyone.
fun.
I don't know how anyone that's played this on Fightcade would play this. Like, would then go and play this, because it just blows this out of the water. And I've talked to people in other communities for other fighting games like CVS2, the Capcom Fighting Collection that just came out. It's that's what everyone's playing right now, but it had a proper launch, a proper ranked, to be fair, the other ways to play it are not very good. Like, the emulation for it on Fightcade is not very good, in my opinion. But same with MK Gold on Fightcade, in my opinion, it's not very good. The emulation for it on Arc, on Arcadesia, on DuckStation is phenomenal, but this is terrible. This Legacy Collection is terrible.
Yeah, this was supposed to be kind of the bridge and, rebirth the game and be the place to go to play on PC over Fightcade. I was hoping this was going to be way better than Fightcade. But apparently that I was completely wrong about that, and it's actually the opposite. Fightcade is still better, which is crazy because Fightcade is free. Legacy Collection is $50. And Fightcade doesn't even specialize in MK. Legacy Collection does specialize in MK.
And like you guys are saying, like, The classic MK games, they need a mainstream release. They need to
Desperately.
be accessible to the public and to new people, the new generation. If it's always going to be some underground shit on Fightcade, it's going to stay where it is.
I do want to just slightly disagree with Tom. I do think I know people will always make counter arguments. I mean, it's the internet, and people obviously will troll, make stuff up. But I think by and large, if you if you have watched the Max video, if you have seen uh catch I don't want to say retraction, that might be the wrong word, but essentially almost like an apology, saying, man, I kind of missed this. I'm sorry. Um, Rio's video was also excellent. I think by and large, the community is, I would say, uh, against this product. Not in a malicious way. We want this to fail because we hate Mortal Kombat, but more along the lines of, it just doesn't meet contemporary gaming standards. So
Right.
I do believe that I think that's really a fair assessment of what's actually going on with within the community that who actually wants to play this game, well, actually wants to play these games, right? So I don't think it's necessarily fair to say, like people, are making excuses. Yeah, there's some, and there always will be some. I mean, people made excuses for, the first year of Mortal Kombat One, the modern game, not the classic one. But by and large, I think it's fair to say that most people in the FGC are against this product, and they have criticized it not maliciously but very fairly.
Yeah, and I just booted it up again while we're talking, and it's so bad. I can't even touch this, dude. I can't even touch this. I'll be on Fightcade.
Yeah, I'm just
What is
waiting for them to release a ranked mode, to be honest. There's something for us to play.
Dubson?
The
What
delay
what
and
do you
everything's terrible.
what do you wish you could play? Like, what's your favorite older game? Is it MK2? Is it Ultimate, or is it like the fucking trilogy game on 64 that I wanted to play that never released? Like, that's a disaster. Go ahead,
Yeah, for
answer.
me, it's hard to pick one. I like one, two, three, and trilogy a lot, and not just Ultimate Three, but three also and trilogy. But if I had to pick one, it would maybe be trilogy.
But are you
For
referring to
reasons
the N?
you
I'm
guys have
sorry.
already said.
Is it the N64 version? Just
Yeah,
want
the
to make. Yeah.
N64
Okay.
version
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah. Because that is the tournament standard, right?
It is the tournament standard. In my opinion, it has a better meta. In my opinion, it's not as focused around glitch jabs.
Yes.
And in response to some things that Big said in the last podcast, he said that I think he said that it was like more random or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. A
Well,
little
I
bit.
don't
Yeah.
even know what that means though. You know what I mean? What does that mean? So if it's not based on glitch jabs, it's more random. Well, that's every other fighting game then. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Street Fighter or
I
something
kind of know
else
what
like
Biggs
that.
is saying. He's saying that because you can't use glitch traps to contain and force people to play a certain way, now you have to deal with them doing like different things. Like Jax is throwing missiles, ground pounding. Is he going to come in? Is he going to jump? Is he going to sweep? It's hard to control people because
Right,
now you have to
right.
deal with a
But
lot of
to
characters' tools.
Right, but to say that's random has a negative
Yeah, I wouldn't word
connotation
it
to
that
it. To
way.
me,
It's
that's just fighting, dude. That's
yeah,
just a
you have to
different.
deal with a
That's
lot of
different.
characters' tools now. Whereas in UMK3, you really don't. If you glitch trap, you shut down a lot of stuff and
Right,
kind of make them
right.
play your way.
Yeah, in UNK3, it's glitch jab city. To play at the top level, high level, you have to have the glitch jabs. You
Right.
have to. That's what the whole meta is revolving around. Conversions off of those. Setting them up. That's what the whole meta is based on. And that's fine. I like Ultimate also. I like them all for different reasons. I think one thing we got to do is we got to stop saying this game is bad or whatever. Because they're all good in different ways. They're all just super different. And everyone can have their different opinions. But and Midway has always been like this. Every Mortal Kombat game is super different from the previous one. Like even Mortal Kombat 2 from Mortal Kombat 1, the meta is real different.
Very
You know
true.
what I mean? Some people are talking about MK2 right now because of the glitch jabs. But MK2, they all have their problems. Mortal Kombat 4 has its problems. MK1 has its problems. I like MK2 a lot. Also, I like all the classics. It's really hard for me to pick one. In Trilogy 64, I'm really known for that one. I've won multiple tournaments for that one, and all the other classic MKs I've won multiple tournaments for. But the 64 trilogy I'm really known for. And to go back to what you were talking about, David, in certain other countries, especially like Dominican Republic, trilogy is the standard for offline Mortal Kombat, the classics. They prefer trilogy. You know what I mean? And Biggs made another comment too that he thinks some trilogy players can't come in Ultimate and hang. Um, but some Ultimate players can't come in Trilogy and hang
Yeah,
because
it's
they're
probably the
just two
same the other way
totally,
around too.
yeah, they're just
Goes
two
both ways.
totally different metas. You know what I mean? And obviously Rio's known for Trilogy also. You know, all the tournaments you've won for that. You know, and the videos and information you've put out for Trilogy. A lot of people talk to me about that information you put out. Like they really appreciate and they look to you as a source of information for Trilogy as well. But like you guys have said, I think it just has a better meta all around. It's not as focused on the glitch jabs. I think it has a healthier meta. You know, the specials are more effective. There's more play styles. Zoning is pretty much dead in UMK3. Like I agree with Biggs on that. Like zoning
It depends
is
for me on
pretty
the
much
matchup because
dead.
Cabal can destroy some characters just by zoning.
That's true. That's true. Cabal can and Reptile can. They can pretty much just spam
Melina
fireballs. But
too.
if
Her
you have a
zoning is very
teleporter,
underrated.
you said
She'll
who?
get Melina. Her zoning is very underrated. She'll get you to stop jabbing in general.
I would say hers is like okay at best. I think her main game plan is still going to be trying to jab, in my opinion, and get her relaunches going and stuff like that. Like her zoning to me isn't that great, but they're like Reptile and Cabal are like pretty much it in my opinion. Two characters, and you can easily counter them with a teleporter or something like that. So, the zoning in UMK3 is pretty much non-existent. It's pretty much glitch jab city. That is true, but you just have to appreciate it for what it is.
Dude, I do. Rio tries to get me to play these older games, and I'm like, dude, I don't like the way Ultimate feels. I don't like it looks. I think the game looks very silly
I
with the,
think,
with
yeah,
the.
and as you also said, Dave, I think Trilogy has a better character variety and a better balance. With Trilogy on 64, that had way more midway involvement. That was developed and produced by Williams, whereas like the PlayStation version was produced by like Avalanche Software or something like that. Midway had direct involvement in Trilogy, and they made balance changes and things like that. It came out over a year and a half after the arcade release of Ultimate, so
Well,
that
let
was
me
more
let
of
me
a
tell you because this is
Yeah.
honestly the
And
only
also, wait,
game
real
I
quick,
care
Dave.
about.
A lot of characters
I
feel
say,
better in Trilogy too. Even some of the low tiers, like Cyrax, way better.
yeah.
Feels way better in Trilogy than UMK3. That character's pointless playing
well,
UMK3.
let me give you guys
Shiva,
my
pointless
ignorant.
playing UMK3. Scorpion, pointless playing UMK3. These characters are actually good in
Right,
Trilogy.
right.
Yeah,
Scorpion, like
Sub
there's way better
Zero,
character variety.
there are two Sub Zeros in UMK3. They're both garbage. Why even
Right.
waste
They
time
made
with that? You
one
could play
good
a good
Sub-Zero,
version. Yeah.
exactly.
And another thing, the top tiers in Trilogy are super fun. Sub Zero, insanely fun. Jax, incredibly
Right.
fun. Scorpion,
And that's
Kung Lao, they're super fun.
exactly, the character variety is way better. There's way more viable characters. The meta's totally different. Um, with UMK3, when you get to the top level, it's pretty much Cabal Central, dude. Cabal Central, Human Smoke, and Ermac. That's why these
From
Russian
Nightwolf too.
communities and Nightwolf. That's why but Cabal is so strong. If you want to talk about banning characters, I don't think C sub is ban worthy in Trilogy. I heard Big say that. Like no community's done that. We pretty much have followed the Dominicans, other South American countries, and we've also watched some of your old Trilogy tournaments that you were in Rio with Phil 9.95 and some of these other, that Shock was involved in and things like that. And we've kind of combined things, but yeah,
Rio, can I
so
ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you played Mo in grand finals and he goes up 2-0 on you, you're on losers. Did I not tell you Cabal has a priority low punch?
You
If
did
he
actually.
runs
You
at
were the
you-
first one to tell me. You were like, "What are you doing? Stop trying to do all this stuff. Just jab him. Stop doing everything else."
Yeah. So,
So
what
I stopped
happens
doing
is,
sweeps. I
that's
stopped
sick
jumping.
that you would know that,
Yeah,
Tom.
and I
Like
literally
so
did
early
nothing.
and so long
I
ago.
did
That's
nothing
sick that
against
you know
him. Yeah, I did nothing against him but
Yes.
mass jabs, and then all of a sudden, Mo started struggling. But the
So
second
what
I
happened
stopped,
was, let me just tell the story because Shock was in denial about. So the first time I ever played Shock, I played him on Kylara when I didn't have a stick and he was like on a keyboard and I was like, and he's like, oh yeah, everyone's favorite whipping boy, Bill, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? So Shock starts talking to Lex and Lex is like, oh yeah, Bill, what Lex really meant is I played Cabal and would mollywop people. But to him, I wasn't playing the way they say it, like on random select, blah, blah, blah. So
Right.
I went to the break for a tournament called East Coast Championship. Now, I was very respected by these players, Mick, RTD. These are some fighting game goats. They paused every single tournament to watch me play Shock. And I won. It was all casuals. And I remember Shock saying to me at the time, Bill, can you do a 70% combo with human smoke? I was like, cuz I don't need combos. I just need jabs. And afterwards I said to him, I said, look, I'm old. I'm washed. If you play Reptile on me, you'll probably stand a good chance against washed Cabals. My run jabbing isn't crisp, whatever. You can slide. You can use force balls to go under my instant air gas blast. Can you tell me, Rio, who Shock only picked on Cabal from that day forward?
Reptile.
And that was because, and that's who he used on me. Keep in mind, and I think a few years later, when
Shock does have a good
was
Reptile, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep
for
in mind,
sure.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing with Reptile.
Yeah, he's good. Shock is very good. And a few years later, I'm not saying I was better than Shock. I mean, I'm not one that's going to say, "Oh, my prime versus what." It doesn't matter. If I lose, I lose. If I get on the sticks, I don't care if I'm rusty. I
Well,
lose. Whatever.
that's a whole nother conversation, prime versus prime. But yeah, we know
Well,
about
there was
your-
a tournament. I'll say this: there was a tournament in 2007. Keep in mind, I was there for DOA 4. It was an Evo qualifier, and Shock was holding UMK3 on the side. I did get to grand finals. I did reset the bracket on him. So even in like the late 2000s, I was still able to at least win a tournament set, even though he did win the tournament. So I was, and keep in mind, I'm a top 8 medalist in DOA 4 at the time. I was also a top Tekken 4 player, so on and so forth. So I'm not really touching UMK3. And this is not to say that my prime versus whoever's prime, it was that I still know what I'm doing. When Rio was playing Mo and I'm commentating and I just can't stand hearing these people glaze Mo like, oh my God, the God is here. And I'm like, and Rio's doing like sweep and trying to surprise him with spin. And they're like, oh, can't do that on Mo. So I got off. I was getting so mad because I'm like, Doug, Rio, I know Rio. Rio's a killer in tournament. He has tournament nerves. He doesn't get tournament nerves.
Well,
like,
no, I'm
like,
just trying to do. Well, when I play, I usually like to use a lot of mind games and switch them up because from what I know, usually when you play fighting games, to repeat the same thing over and over, that means you're being predictable. You're playing bad. You got to switch it up. You always have to keep your opponent guessing. But at that time, because I was still learning MK3, you play differently. You don't try to switch it up. Yo, let's do this now. Let's switch it up. Oh, he's not going to expect me in this round. You have to kind of play around the meta with jabbing. And I was starting to understand that the more as I played.
So Mo goes up 2-0, and they're getting ready to crown Mo king of the universe. So I'm mad. So I got off commentary, and I pulled Rio aside. I was like, Rio, Cabal has a priority low punch. That means if anyone meets you with a jab or a combo, you throw them every fucking time. I was like, don't do a spin ever again. If Mo runs at you, just run at him and jab the shit out of him. You will throw him every time. You know what happened? Mo tries to move. Rio's like, oh, throw. So what does Mo start doing? Block. And Rio's like, jab. So you know what happens? Rio resets the bracket. Rio, who did Mo pick in the second set on you?
Cabal.
It was a Cabal mirror. And then I go to Shock. I said, and this is why UMK3 is trash. Now we're finally playing the game at the highest level. It is a lie.
Right.
UMK3 is Cabal versus Cabal.
It is. It is. When you play.
Period.
Yeah.
Stop with the human smoke bullshit. None.
I mean, wait, hold on. See, I kind of see what you're saying. Cabal is the best. However, I don't think Cabal like 7-3s or 8-2s everybody where other characters can. I think
not
human smoke can definitely compete with him.
Yeah, my point is, it's just dumb. I thought it was dumb because when they nerfed a lot of specials in MK3 to go to UMK3 and jabbing was even more prevalent, I said, well, how dumb is it that there's one character that has one jab to rule them all and he has a priority low punch? I'm like, this is stupid. It'd be different if like there was no such thing as low punch priority, but Cabal, I'm like, this is just dumb. He doesn't need to random spin you. He just jabs the shit out of you. And then you can't move around him because you leave the ground at all backwards or forwards. It's a free sprint, 48%. Thanks for 42%. Thanks for showing up. I was like, this is so dumb. You can't fucking move around him. You can't fight him in the air. You can't fight him in the ground. You can't outzone him.
Right.
I'm like, this is retarded. I'm like, this isn't even fun. So I would only pick Cabal so I could punish all of them. so they could share my misery when I had to play the game. Now, I will say about the glitch tapping, what the glitch tapping did is save it. Now, multiple characters can jab with characters like Cabal. It opened up the offense. It also allowed characters to play without haha, surprise, Kung Lao spin, infinite, or
Right.
random Cabal spin. So it opened things up. But it's also retarded because
Right.
to me, I'm not saying it doesn't take skill. And I agree with Biggs saying, how do you beat glitch jab? Is like saying Street Fighter, how do you beat footsies? You have to understand footsies to know
Right.
how to out footsie somebody. You have to understand glitch jabbing. And I also
Right.
respect Detroit when he says, when I watch somebody play and their jabbing they have such control over it. He's like,
Right.
I respect that because I know that they invested so much time in their craft. UMK3, to have command, glitch jabbing is a very awkward command. So to
Right.
be able to do it command, muscle memory wise, and just have such control over it is a very high degree of skill and knowledge of the game, not just mashing execution.
Right.
However, when I watch two players stop outside of each other's range and do high punches, I understand what they're doing. It's like, your or low punches, especially high punches, because sometimes you can OS combos with that. I,
Right.
I clearly see what's happening because obviously you want to put somebody in guard stun. One of the only times you can't block is when you run. So if somebody extends too much, they're going to run into your attacks, if you're glitch jabbing. But when two people stop just outside of each other's range and go, ha 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 ha, ha, even for a second, to me, I'm like, that is against every fundamental of fighting game.
Right. There it is right there.
It allows you to have poor spacing and never pay for it. And I'm not saying UMK3 players have poor spacing. I know why they do it because you can't block while you're running. So, but I think, to be honest, the majority of the FGC would probably pick up MK2 more than UMK3. I don't think a UMK3 or MK4 would be played as much. I think but what I think would happen is people will just enter them all. So if there were tournaments happening, you'd see a lot of like, oh yeah, I'm here for Street Fighter 6, but I'm also playing Alpha for fun, right? Oh, I'm playing MK2, but I'm playing UMK3 for fun, or I'm playing MK3, you know, but I'm playing, whatever for fun. I think that would be, I think that would be big. Um, yeah, I mean, ironically, Jugs, it actually did. But it honestly did. It opened up so much more of the cast with glitch jabbing.
Yeah, and believe it or
But at
not,
the
it does
same
add the
time,
extra depth to the game too. Like Tom said, for a lot of characters to
Yeah.
compete. Like if
it's
you can't glitch
yeah.
jab with some characters like Jade, what do they even do? Throw a
Exactly.
terrible projectile every
And if
5
you
But
seconds?
again,
right, right.
you guys say glitch jabs aren't a problem, but then pass some dumb tournament rule that says you can't slow a jab in the corner. This is an
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
oxymoron.
don't know why
I
that's a rule,
agree
to be
with that.
honest.
You
I
you
don't think
you
that should be a rule either.
you
You
guys
know, I don't
literally
think that should be
say
a rule
like,
either.
oh, glitch jabbing, and well, you can't take it out of the game. It's in the game. You can't ban it, right? It's part of the game, while banning something that's part of the game. That to me is retarded. To me, it's like,
He did that to try to make it more appealable to the mainstream audience. And again, like when this game came out in '06, there was a couple players that were real good with like Cabal again, or Sub Zero or something like that. They could just get you to the corner, one spin with Cabal, and you'd just be done. Like they had it completely down to a science like that. And like if we were not gonna ban it, that player might have won multiple times by now. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to ban it. Drew wanted to ban it to make it more appealable to the
takes no
mainstream. I
skill
agree.
at all. What that's a
To be
that's
fair, though, you do have to set it up. It's not like you just start the match and go
bro.
into it. You got to get them to the
This is
corner and then catch
this
them.
thing I've ever heard. So
Th- there
now
was there was a Cabal player that could get it. Like he was gonna get it.
glitch jabbing looks ridiculous. If you start banning thing based on looks, a lot of things will be banned in fighting games.
I mean, look,
Yeah,
the
glitch
perfect
jabs.
solution is let's start playing WaveNet because that kind of
Well,
fixes the whole low punch
I mean, the
jab
glitch
infinite.
jabs are still a big part of the meta in WaveNet. That's why I think more people should look at 64 MK Trilogy. And I'm not just saying that, because I've been the best player in the country in that game multiple times. Like I just think it has a healthier meta.
But the problem is,
Well,
there's no way
let,
for us to play in 64 trilogy. That's the issue. We're hoping this Legacy
well,
Collection is going
Exactly.
to provide that game.
let me say this, Dobson. Obviously I'm not anywhere near your level, and but I've done my research. I watched like the Latin Americans play Ultimate. I've watched the Russians play it, and then I look at the N64 version of Trilogy. I'm like, this actually looks like a fighting game.
That's what it
There's
would be,
still,
Dave. That's
yeah,
where they were going. That's
but
that's where they
people.
wanted MK3 to go. Like it
But
came
here's
out
here's my
near the
problem.
end of
Yeah,
'96. Like that's the
yes,
direction
yes.
they were going with Ultimate. Like if you look at the way they fight in that game, the balance is totally different. The balance is totally different. They're going off crouched low punches and crouch low punches. The specials are way more effective. The character variety is better. Like it has the 3v3. People really like that feature. Or you can play one versus one. You don't have to compare the teams to one versus one. Like if you don't like classic Sub-Zero in the 3v3, well then just play it one versus one like you play Ultimate one versus one.
But Dobson, I don't know how we got to the point where Ultimate is this God's given.
It's because the N64 version has never had a chance. It's never had a chance. It's never
No,
got an
I agree with
opportunity.
you, but I don't like the trick that sometimes even people like Rio play.
Wait,
Play
hold on,
Ultimate.
wait, Dave, what are you talking about? Unity was never praised as the god game. It was getting flamed during Xbox Live. It was getting flamed during
No,
2010
yeah,
Offline Tour. It was
exactly.
always under the
Trilogy is
burner.
Trilogy is the one that's been praised. To me, it's the most popular classic. If you look at the YouTube numbers or anything like that worldwide, it's
I
the
know, but
most
all the
popular
Dobson,
classic.
all the drama that we talk about, I know it's has to do with to an extent with compatibility issues, right? Because not everybody can play this version of Trilogy, and that's fair. Obviously, that's 100% true. But it's like all the drama that we have discussed on this podcast is almost exclusively related to Ultimate,
Right,
Because
right.
that's
and
what people play. What do you mean?
That's
Like
the
I
what?
know.
most, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
people
That's the
play.
one
Well,
people can play right now. Like Nintendo, I think is holding the 64 version hostage. I think is what's going
probably,
on.
yeah.
I think Nintendo's holding it hostage
Yeah,
But
they
just
probably
real quick,
want a
I'm gonna
huge
exclusive to
say
the
fee.
this.
64.
I don't like the trick. Hey, play this game with me. It takes years to get good at, which is true. Oh, look, it's a two-character game. Ha ha. It's like, no, hell no. I'm not
Yeah,
falling
Wait,
for this
what's a
trap.
two-character game?
exactly.
I think Ultimate's a two-character based on every
It's
video I've
probably a
ever seen.
three-character game, Dave.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I
Ermac, Herman
think,
Smoke, and Cabal. Yeah,
in my opinion, I think the characters are viable up until you get to like Sindel and Reptile. Then you're kind of pushing it after that.
Well, it's not even about the balance. It's also the fact that, dude, I watched the game. I'm like, why are people playing this? This
Yeah,
looks
and I remember
terrible.
you
at the
kept
top
telling me, you
top
were like,
level.
why do they keep playing these same characters over and over? Because they're playing top tiers. Why wouldn't
No,
they be
it's not.
playing top
Yeah,
tiers?
it's a lot of
When I
Cabal,
watched
Cabal at the
Trilogy, I
top
I
level,
told, I
and it
it's
gets
not even
boring.
no, no, forget the balance. Even like just like if you're a new player and you watch Ultimate and you like Tom just described, people just like whiffing jabs, just like what the
Right.
hell is going
That's
on?
it's terrible. Yeah, like
And
there's
you
no
look
other
at
fighting game
Trilogy,
where you can attack and block at the same time.
yeah,
That's absolutely true.
and
It's
and you
terrible
look at
perception and
Trilogy,
concept.
yeah, and you look at Trilogy, glitch jabs are still a factor. Like I've seen
Yeah,
the
it's
game
Right.
at
just
the highest
scary to
level.
do them because there's so many characters doing other stuff, and
Yeah,
also the
but
pokes are so good that if you get caught doing
Right.
that, you give your opponent free offense, which can make you lose a round.
Exactly.
and then I watched the
Exactly.
game like, guys, this actually looks like a fighting game. Like it literally looks like a fight. Like people doing special moves. There's some glitch jabs. There's still combos. Like, oh my god, I want to play this. Like, why would I ever bother with Ultimate? I think that's one of the most overrated games of all time. Like, I don't understand what people see in that game. I think it's incredibly boring. But anyway, it's a shame that
Yeah.
it goes back to this legacy collection issue.
I know.
We
The
put in the
shame
wrong
just keeps
game.
stacking
Yeah.
up, right, Dave?
No,
Exactly.
exactly. And dude, I told Rio, man, as a friend, like, dude, I swear to you, I would give Trilogy a
The
chance. Like, it
disappointment.
looks fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fun. I want to play it. Uh,
And
there's
here's the
still, I
thing,
think, go
Dave, you
ahead.
could play with any controller you want if they put it on the Legacy Collection, because that is one problem that some people don't like the 64 controller. But if you look at the tournaments where they run it in South America, dude, they love the 64 controller. I remember when Crazy Dominican first started playing on '06 and we started playing, he always told me he loved the 64 controller. And I couldn't believe it.
Crazy.
I was like, I mean, I like the PlayStation controller probably the most, but I'm really good on the 64 controller too, but I'm real used to it. But like when he was telling me that they absolutely prefer it and they love the 64 controller. So I made sure that, I'm always staying sharp on that.
That's insane to me because when I tried playing it on that controller, it hurt my hands. Like the controller just feels so awkward to use. I'm definitely not a fan of it.
And so it'd be nice to have other options. That is one thing for 64 trilogy if we could unlock that.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
again, with
really,
it,
the downsides to trilogy is yes, the balance is not good. There's some pretty dumb characters. The controller issue. Some stages do lag. Like if you're playing on Waterfront, Armory, or the River, you probably shouldn't choose those stages. But luckily, the game lets you select your stage. You could always choose the stages that don't lag. But aside from those, like
Right.
the game is pretty. It's pretty
Right.
fun,
Yeah,
but
and
and,
if we
also,
and
could
it's
get a
not as
modern,
bad as people. Yeah, because people make it seem like it's so bad and it's not even worth playing.
and also, like
no,
I guess,
they're not in the know. If we could get a modern version, to address some of that stuff, yeah, that'd be real sick.
is it also true that the game has like audio issues, or at least quality issues? Is that
Yeah,
on
the
the
audio is not as
N64?
good as the arcade ports. It's a less audio quality
Or the
than the
play that those are
yeah.
the only things that I can give to the PlayStation or the PC version is the audio
But
and
that
the
could be like
controller.
patched
Those are
in.
the
That could,
only two things. The other
but that
other
could
than
be.
that, those are terrible. And as far as I've ever known, as far as everyone I've ever talked to, the PlayStation version was never the standard for trilogy. It was always the 64 version. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember videos from Hanzo being posted from like when YouTube was in its infancy. You know what I mean? And this goes all the way back to the glitch jabs, which I'd like to talk about at some point too, or whenever, or if you want to talk about it on
Yeah,
another
we actually
episode
cover
too.
that now if you want. We could go into that.
So with the glitch jabs, when I talk to, kept in touch with the Chicago guys too. Like they tell me they knew about the glitch jabs, but they didn't like the way it played. And so the South Americans, they kept going with the glitch jabs, and then they kept posting videos and stuff, and they would talk a lot. The Chicago guys, the South Americans, and other Americans. But when '06 came out, that was a big shift, an event in the Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 community. And what happened was people started looking at the videos Hanzo was posting. They were playing offline on arcade and trilogy for 64, and we started using the glitch jabs. And so you guys talk about base. What it is with base is it sounds like he was just the first person to show some of you guys the glitch jabs offline.
Yeah, well,
But
here's
he
the thing.
wasn't the
He was the
person. He wasn't the person to invent them or anything like that. The person that really took it to the next level, in my opinion, was Marv. And Marv is currently the number one player in the world on Fightcade right now.
yeah.
And
Well,
the number seven player I think is Juan Nightwolf, which is a trilogy player. So they can go either way, from ultimate to trilogy or trilogy to ultimate. He plays ultimate because there's no way to play 64 trilogy online. He wants to play MK3, but he just beat the other number one player in the world, Piero. So these guys are some of the top players in the
yeah.
world right now.
Marvel Ross is ridiculous. I remember because I also mentioned this in one of my previous episodes. Is Base was definitely the first person to show me, and I guess make it mainstream on Xbox Live in the American scene.
No,
But
he was
Marvel
just the first
Rasta,
person to show you guys.
yeah, he was the first person to show us. But Marvel Rasta was the person that perfected it, like took it to a whole new level. When I saw
Right.
at NEC the way Marv can move, be mobile, do all that, and always glitch jab on command, I was like, this is like the next level of UMK3. This is like probably the highest level you can get with it. Like seeing it be perfected like that. But honestly, for Xbox Live, like Base wasn't even the best player online. It was actually
No.
Crazy Dominican was the best for the first
Crazy
couple years.
Dominican.
For the first
Yeah,
2-3
Crazy
years,
Dominican
he was the best. I remember he demolished me like 20-0. His katana gets my elbow. He's the reason why I actually picked up katana. Because of how
Yeah.
badly he destroyed him. I was like, dude, this dude is crazy.
And
But
he
yeah, it's
didn't even use
sadly
instant air fans.
yeah, no, he didn't. He just played like just basic fundamentals really, and it was so hard to beat him back then. He was definitely the best. But it makes sense when you think
Right.
about it because he played trilogy, he had that, so he was just
Right.
so insanely good at the game. But yeah,
He was the best in the early time of '06 was
I
Crazy
agree. Yeah,
Dominican.
he was. I never got beat that bad by someone playing a mid tier like that. Katana 20-0.
Yeah, I mean, he was the best. The only other players that in my opinion that were on my level was like DC Hustle,
Yeah, he was super good.
Jugs, Annihilator
Juggernaut was
83,
good. Annihilator was good. He had a good Sub Zero.
myself,
Shaney
ABC
McGrady
or
was
Dead
also good.
Zero. Shaney McGrady to me wasn't that good. He was always in rooms with Crazy Dominican getting his butt whooped with this other dude. But there were players that adapted to the glitch jabs and evolved with them, and then there was players that wasn't.
Yeah, do you
So
remember
like you
Atlantis? He
said,
had a pretty
Marv,
good robot smoke.
Atlantis was a good player.
Yeah, he had a
Atlantis
really
was
good
a good
robot
player.
smoke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's
And then
kind of sad because. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you're cool. I mean, to go back to like Katana, like I think also what ties in is we need to talk about like Arion because he was on your podcast, and Detroit and Biggs kind of responded and talked to Arion too. But I think some people, there's some discussion around Arion and Detroit balling right now. Like we talked about Crazy Dominican when '06 came out. He was the best player, and then
Mhm.
after a while, I think it's fair to say that Arion was, and so I think we need to give respect where respect is due sometimes. Everyone's a victim of the time that they lived in and played in. They can't help who was doing what or who was there or who wasn't there, whatever. They either showed up or they didn't. You know what I mean? And this is going to bring me into a topic I want to ask you three later on, and it's going to be about online players versus offline players. Okay. This is something I want to bring up later on. I want all your opinion on this because all four of us in here are offline tournament players, competitive players. Okay, so
True.
you, I heard all your episodes, Rio. I heard what they were talking about with Arion. I think Arion could absolutely hang with the players today, and he still does hang with the players today. So I thought there was some gross misrepresentation in some of these recent episodes, but Arion, he's made his own case in some ways too. The way he was talking, it kind of sounded like he was kind of trying to discredit Detroit Ballin and his win. You know, they got to keep in mind. Everyone has to keep in mind that it's been pretty much a lot of the same players playing for over a decade now. So whoever Arion beat and lost to is likely who Detroit Ballin played and lost to. So Detroit, he's playing now, but I would love to see Arion and Detroit play. We need Arion to come out. I don't think Arion's scared to play, but I want to see, at the end of the day, you have to respect guys that put their legacy on the line. There's some guys out here, we all know some of these guys that, they go to one tournament maybe and they win one tournament and then they want to sit in their mom's basement and be like, oh, I'm one of the best players of all time. I never lost to this guy. I never lost to
That's
that guy. It
true.
was like, dude, you only went to one tournament, dude. Maybe it was the one you won. But, players like me, for example, like I don't have to keep putting my legacy on the line anymore. I've already made a legacy, but I do it out of respect to the people I beat when I won my tournaments. I want them to be able to, if they're still going to the tournament, I want them to be able to have the opportunity to beat me. And if they win, then their win counts for more too. It's things like this that are respectable. So, some of the current players like Biggs and Detroit, I think they want to see Arion show up. He hasn't showed up in a long time. And, I've played and I know all these guys offline. Um, Detroit Ballin is definitely the best player in the country right now, and it's not even close. But I'd love to see. Arion was kind of the Detroit Ballin before Detroit Ballin, and we got to remember that. We got to pay respect where respect is due.
Yeah, he
I
was
think there's
pretty
two.
dominant from, I'd say, end of 2011 or 2012 up until like
Right,
2018, 19, but it was a long period of him winning a lot. And yeah, I think
right,
Aaron's
but
still good because I played him a few weeks ago. He beat me like, it was like 30-0, and he was playing like terrible characters like Shiva and stuff. So I don't think he's bad or
right.
anything. I would actually love to
No,
see. I would love to see a match between him and Detroit next tournament. I think that'd be huge and great for the game. When you have like the old best
it would
player
be.
versus the current new school best player.
It would be, but we got guys that are trying to protect their legacy too much, and it's hard on the game. I don't know how much longer Drew's gonna keep doing CKK. So I want the players to support the scene and respect the OGs and respect the players that paved the way, you know, and that's what's going to keep the game alive, because I don't know how much if people aren't supporting Drew or the players are paying respect to the OGs, I don't know how much longer he's going to keep doing it, you know what I mean? And Arion's won and showed up to a lot of tournaments, tournaments he hasn't won to. He's been to a lot of tournaments, so I want to see these guys keep that same energy because Detroit's been to, I think, two tournaments for this game, but there's going to be a point, like in any person's life, where they've competed for 10 years and then some new cat on the block's going to want a piece of them. You know what I mean? And it's everybody played at the time they played, and they can't help who showed up or didn't show up.
Yeah, like for example, if they had a ranked combat league for Legacy Collection, a lot of people start playing and get into it. Who's to know who the best player is going to be 5 years from now, 2030, or even 10 years from now, 2035? Sometimes things change. Some people develop the game in a way
Right.
that
You know,
older players would have to step up their game to be able to compete with. So
exactly. It
yeah,
stays evolving. That's all fighting games. And I've showed you
I
some
agree.
stuff, Rio. I showed you some stuff. They're trying to. Some people were saying, "Oh, it's maxed out." It's not maxed out, dude. They don't know about that stuff. They're
No,
not
I
maxing
think
it
I
out.
think they mean maybe the tech is maxed out, but the skill ceiling, like people could always get better at a game, like in terms of making the right
Right.
choices,
Well,
playing better.
stuff can still get discovered too, man. Like I just thought the way they were selling, I thought how hard they were selling MK4 was kind of sick, to be honest with you. Like, let's not forget about the other classics and the games that we even all met here for. You know what I mean? Like, they're still good games. I think we need to stop saying this version of MK is bad and that version of MK is good. Like, you know, that's what's hurting MK, I think, right now. Like Capcom and Street Fighter players, they don't really do that. You know what I mean? I think we
Yeah,
gotta.
I
There's
agree with
enough room
that.
at the table for all these MK games,
You shouldn't have to tear down one game
and
to make
top
another
players
game seem better because then it just looks bad. But
right?
MK2 also underrated game. It's better than people give credit for. A lot of people
For
just tend to
sure.
say
If you
it's not
like
worth playing this net, but it's actually very underrated. A lot better than people think.
MK2, MK2 is super underrated. I mean, MK2 you could argue is maybe one of the most popular two up there with Trilogy, maybe a little under, like really close. But if you like zoning, that's the one to play. If you don't like glitch jabs, that's the one to play. It has a way less focus of the meta in MK2, but it has its stuff too. Like, for example, most people don't even know like sweeps are barely even punishable in MK2.
Yeah, a lot of
So
specials are
if you don't,
disabled. I was shocked when I saw that. I'm like,
yeah,
wow, sweeps are
that's the
insane
meta,
in
dude,
MK2. The
because
normals are really
that's the
strong.
yeah, that's the meta. Like in MK1, yeah, I mean, Big said, I think, or someone said, like, everything's unsafe in MK1. Well, that's not completely true. What you have to do is you have to make them safe. So you have to space it a certain way or whatever. But that was kind of the general gist of it. So in MK2, they tried to totally change that. They really took the focus off glitch jabs and made projectiles stronger. And sweeps were like, it's hard. They're mostly unpunishable in MK2. So if you're one of those people that hate sweeps, because we all know those guys out there,
Yeah, they're like,
that
oh, you're
hate
just
sweeps or whatever.
spamming sweeps and
Yeah, yeah,
footsies. Like
don't
it's
play
annoying.
MK2
Yeah,
if that's you. You know what I mean? So they all have a different meta. Midway, and they've always been like that with MK. Every MK really does play different from the other MKs.
yeah. When I was playing, I tried to punish sweep with Liu Kang's flying kick or Melina's roll, and I was like, wait a minute, it's
Nah,
not
that's
coming out.
disabled.
So yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm like, wow. So this adds a lot of depth to the game actually, because now you have these
Yeah, it's a
normals you can
totally
use and
different.
yeah, the
Right.
game is very underrated. I didn't realize this until I went to go back to play because from what I've heard all the time is MKT is bad. Just play MK3. MK2 is not worth playing. It's so imbalanced. And MK3 is the best. So some of these games get overlooked, but MK2 is its own animal and it's unique. And I think it's a good game actually.
Right.
So
Well,
really
again, the
quick, let me
problem is
just
we're just with the problem is, look, guys, I want to be like part of this conversation, but it's very difficult because these idiots who release the game don't give us
Right.
an opportunity to level up. That's the whole point, right? Again, I know I'm
yeah,
beating a
because
dead
you were
horse.
also saying, Dave, if you get into this game, you want to play Kombat League and rank too, right? So you can learn at
Dude,
your
I'm
pace.
getting messages like literally in my text, like Cabo, like, dude, you have to try MK2 Million. You would have so much fun. I was like, Cabo, I would love to, but there's like
There's
so
no
many problems.
ranked.
There's no ranked. Yeah, practice mode is good, but like, dude, I'm playing on PS5, right? So I'm gonna deal with this input delay, which is just comical. So I wanna like, I think if you're like in my shoes, and I think that's when most people are, right? Because you wanna be part of the conversation. You wanna be part of the meta.
Yeah,
You
you
wanna
want to
play
play
these
the
games.
game and see it for yourself and learn, but the
Yeah, but you
legislation makes it
can't
hard.
because it's the game is designed. It's been ported so badly, and it doesn't really want to make you play it, especially after Mortal Kombat 1, not the classic, right? The modern game, which I to this day I like. Like, but its first year was so bad that I just cannot reward bad behavior anymore from these companies.
You said with MK1, Dave?
Yeah, yeah, like the
Yeah,
modern
me
one.
too, bro. I mean, dude, I try all the new Mortal Kombats when they came out, when they come out. I competed a little bit in 9 and 10. I like them. 11. I competed in all of them, actually. I've competed in probably literally every MK there is. But MK1, it was so bad when it first came out. It's kind of a similar situation to this. You're exactly right. Like, it turned me off so bad that if it's even right now, I just couldn't go back to it. Like, and part of
Yeah,
my other thing, maybe it's the classic player in me, is like, I don't like some of the guest characters that they do, like Omni Man and shit. Just feels like he's an Injustice character in MK. Like,
yeah,
just hit
Yeah,
him
he
in
seems very
Justice,
out of
dude.
place.
It just feels super out of place. Like, and just make like a horror game, fighting game with Jason and Predator, because those are sick, dude. But the when it was Omni Man in MK, that just felt so out of place to me. It felt so out of place. It
You're
feels
not
like
the only
they've
one, yeah.
totally lost their identity. Mortal Kombat, dude. Like, I loved the assist idea. I thought it was going to be so sick and unique, but then it was like, not all the assists were viable. It was like every character had one viable assist, so it was like, or one optimal assist. It just, the variety and the concept could have been so much better, in my opinion. And it was so bad when it first came out that it was exactly like this. So if they ever got it right, I was just so, it left such a bad taste in my mouth.
Exactly, and I think that's will be the lesson learned from this project as well. Uh, Not so much about the meta, right? The meta can differ between individuals, but it always comes back down to those 5 things that Rio talked about several months ago. You cannot release a fighting game without just basic functionality, basic features. You never give people ever the opportunity to even play them, to be part of a community, to be part of a conversation. You essentially keep the community isolated, which is essentially what's happening with Ultimate. People like Jugs and Bass and many others, they will play the game no matter what. But are you gonna actually, i- you know, are you catching new players' attention? And unfortunately,
Right.
I don't see it happening. But can you ask your question about
Wait, hold on. Can we
the
talk about this real quick
online?
in the chat so it stops getting spam real quick? There's one
Yeah, go
thing by
ahead.
Base, one thing by Jug. So, and I don't know if this is true or not, but Base is saying Dubson ruined CKK by threatening Arion. Is this like just propaganda or what?
No, no, no. I mean, everything that happened with me and Arion was just totally WWE, straight up. I mean, me and Arion are friends. Yeah, we've had our
Oh, I
disagreements,
see. So it was
but
like you guys are kind of hyping it up. I see.
yeah, we've had disagreements many times, but that was just totally WWE. He knows that, I know that, and Base was involved and he was trying to get it riled up, but you know, that's just Base doing weird
Yeah,
things
that makes
as
sense.
usual.
And then Juggernaut here
J-
says that Arion beat Four, who's an extremely good player from Honduras. I think he was one of Marvelous's training partners.
Yeah, so when
Arion,
we were talking,
no doubt, beat Four 10-2 and 7-0. Like,
so I mean, some of these, I mean, four is beatable. In my opinion, four is one of the best players in the world right now. He's from Honduras, but he lives in the US.
yeah,
So if
because
we
I
were going to
remember when
talk,
he played Detroit before, I think they were saying Four slightly edged out Detroit. Like, he beat him, what was it, like 10-8 or
yeah, like
something? Yes.
I mean, if we were going to break down the best players in the US, we kind of have to break it down by like who's a born American and who's from another country living in America. Like,
Yeah, but to be
four,
fair,
he's
you
from
have to give
Honduras.
credit to who's traveling to get the tournament wins. So in my opinion, it'd still be Detroit.
100%.
Like if Four
100%.
or No Doubt want to show that, hey man, we're just as good as Detroit, better, then they have to compete and play against them. You can't just say it.
Yep. Yep. You're absolutely right. You
Also,
know,
Jugs, I appreciate that, but I've been playing a lot of MK2 since Legacy came out offline, and I think Legacy skill carries over the most in MK2 of any classic game. I still think my Jax would beat 99% of the planet. Like I've been playing it a lot, so I'd probably still put me like as what if there was a tournament I would be in. I'm not saying I would win there. People have been playing it for a million years, but I would definitely finish extremely high.
oh, I know,
Um,
Brady, your name was always mentioned, in my homework and research with the people before me and the legends, Tom, your name was legend, but also, Lex was legend as well, so, I'm
Lex
cool.
didn't compete. Lex did not play until UMK3, and the
Right.
problem with Lex is so Lex. Man, I hate to say, I hate to keep dumping on the guy, man. Like I really do, because I like Lex. It's just
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of going too extreme on him. And I mean, we got to be honest. Was Lex good? Like, I mean, he was definitely high level, right?
well,
Lex
Lex
was
was
real
good,
good
but
and he
being
still is
good
real
is
good.
not a
Yeah. So
tournament.
then, why do
So
people
Lex,
meme on him and act like he was like the worst player
because
You
ever?
know what
Lex is
it
not
is
a
real?
because Lex is not a
It's his
tournament player. No, no,
it's his
Yeah, but
personality, I think.
no, it's not personality. No, 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 no.
but Tom, what does that
Because
mean? He was not
Lex
a
is
tournament
not
player. Either he was good or he was not.
okay. So here's why you can be good. There are people that we know that are we would say are quote unquote good, but have no tournament results or tournament happens and
Tom,
something.
I think, might have traveled for the game more.
No,
You,
they didn't travel at all.
no, I mean
None.
you. I think you might have traveled, or like,
No,
yeah, because
Lex.
they were,
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
think I traveled more than anybody for Mortal Kombat. Like I traveled everywhere. Like I hate to say it, man. Man, most of my life went to Mortal Kombat. In another world, had a much more productive life because I didn't play fighting games. And
Nah, it's cool, bro. I mean,
another multiverse. The Chicago players did not travel for tournaments.
that's
The
kind of
reason
my
why
issue with the Russia players, but we'll get to that after Tom's
the
talking.
reason why WaveNet, you hear WaveNet all the time. So you'll hear if you go back old enough through Lexus, whatever, he'll talk about the best players based on who had the streaks on WaveNet. So all WaveNet was like you playing in your local arcade, only WaveNet to what was out the greater Chicago area on a T1 connection. And it was like, whoever was having the streaks, and they would see who has the most streaks, like who are the most dominant players. But that's not a tournament. And that's where Lex differs. We've seen many times in life, Dave, you've seen it firsthand. Some Forever King, for example, he beat me literally 100. Dave, you know this story. Forever King beat me 100 straight games in MK9. Literally, he beat me 100-0.
I know where you're going with this, Tom. I wanted to touch on that too. Keep going.
But the next day, I beat him 2-1 in tournament. In fact, I've played Forever King in 2 tournaments. One at Console Combat where I beat him 2-1, and then at Power Up, the second one where I beat him 2-1 again. I don't think I've ever beaten Forever King a single game in casuals. So King in casuals, his record on me is 500 wins, no losses. And in tournament, he's lost twice to me. Who is the better player?
That's a great question, dude.
So the problem Lex has is he is unable to accept.
In my opinion, you would both be good. However, tournament matters more. So even though he beat you 100 offline, yes, he's still good. However, you won when it mattered most. So you would technically be considered better.
I still think King is better, to be honest with you, but I would say King is better.
Well,
right, but you have to be able to win when it counts too.
You also have to ask the question if one tournament win over one player is enough to say they're better than that player. You kind of have to look at a body of work.
Well, and I also placed higher in the tournament because it was elimination.
Yeah, so it's just one piece of the pie. You have to look at the placing.
Yeah, so
how many
it was
times
elimination.
they played
It was an elimination match, right? Kerbo, right? How many times does Kerbo 25-0'd me with Cabal?
Oh, he was destroying you for a long time. Like in a lot of the casuals, he was like 20-0ing you, 10-0ing you.
And then I played him in tournament. I beat him 3-0.
Yeah, and then you beat him, and he was just shocked. He was like, "How did I lose to Tom? I beat him."
In fact, here's a funny story. AC 1984, before NEC, he must have beat me like 30 straight games. Then I beat him in tournament. He's like, I got to play that match in casuals.
Yeah, AC's another insanely good Cabal player.
And then he beat me like 40-0 in casuals, and he goes, "How? How do you do it, man?" He goes, "How do you lose all of us so badly? And then in tournament, you're somebody else. How?" So I said, AC, that's because tournament's an art form. I know that realistically, there's only 1 or 2 things I'm better at than pretty much anyone who will ever live. And you're better, and most people are better at 1,000 things. So you would say somebody's better at 1,000 things than me. I'm only good at 1 or 2 things. But the 1 or 2 things I'm good at, defense and trapping, you have to go to Jesus to find somebody better. And if I can make the match for 2 games about what I do over you do, I have now become better than you.
To try and figure that out in 2 games,
Right. Now, maybe you might beat me the next 30 games, but I'm going to game plan a strategy that's going to work for these 2.
Right.
And I'm going to trick you into playing my game.
And by the way, this is, I know this is a little off topic, but this is another reason why Kombat League is so good, because a lot of people, when they train, they're like, yeah, we're going to do first to 50s, first 100 all the time, but then they forget how to win in first to 2s, first to 3s. Kombat League sets you in the mood to get used to playing people first to 2s, first to 3s.
Very true. You have to put people get rid of those
that's
nerves.
another reason why ranked is so important. We don't need to play somebody 1,000 games. First to 2, first to 3 is good enough.
Well, I think to ask if a player's better than the other, you have to look at a larger body of work. How many times they've placed high or higher, how many times they've played, who they've beat, who they've lost to over a large body of work. But yeah, you
need consistency is very important. This is why usually when you establish who's better, you take both their tournament results and you go and who has the better placings, who does this better. That's why this happened back during MKX. there was a player, Ninja Killer, that came out of nowhere, beat Sonic in a
Right.
set, and then everybody was like, "Yep, Ninja Killer is the best MKX player." Wait, but I'm like, wait a minute. What about Sonic Fox has the most tournament wins? All that doesn't
Right,
count
right.
because he lost now in a match after MKX was out of its prime. This is like during Injustice or something. That to me, it's crazy that
Well,
people
like
could just
you,
overlook that. They just don't care about
Yeah.
tournament results. They want to know who's the best
right.
now.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's true. But the thing is, ultimately, like, and again, I see somebody talking about Lex here. You have to understand. Here's what I give Lex shit, because so Lex for a while, Shock was like on the Lex train and coming at me. Then we had that meeting at 8 on the break, and I played Shock, and Shock realized, okay, Bill isn't this idiot that Lex like to make it seem. And I told him the truth about it. I said, we're on the same side, man. These guys are not tournament players. I said, if you invite Lex to a tournament, you will break his power. He will crumble, he will choke, he will fold. So Shock tricks him like some Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, MK2
Sorcery.
Outworld stuff, lures him to a tournament. Lex loses to Shock. Now, Shock, I think, gets second to Mo. Mo wins, beats Lex, places over Lex, and then Lex was like, I mean, this is just for fun, right, guys? So,
The
this is
tournament that
Lex.
just happened?
Yeah, so Lex, who talked shit for years and years and years, goes to a tournament, loses to Shock, and is like, well, who you going to tell about this, right? This is only for fun, right? He's just not a tournament player. He's
Well, Why is
good.
Lex so afraid of losing, though? I don't understand. Like, okay, you lost
Well,
someone. What's the
this
big
is the
deal? You could
problem.
always compete next time, play in the
This
next
is the
tournament.
problem, though. This is the problem. In the modern era, tournaments matter, right? So you can be a good player, but you will never consider be great or one of the greatest without tournament results. Is Lex good? Yes. Is he great? He is not. Lex is also resistant to change. For example, look, I was the killer of killers in that arcade era, in this MK3, UMK3, especially MK3.
Right.
But when I saw what Jugs and Rio were doing and Marvarasta, I wasn't like, oh yeah, you should have, man, my 95
Yeah.
Jugs.
That's
Jugs, you're fucking lucky you didn't catch me in 95.
right,
But
right.
I was like, hey, these guys have clearly taken the game to a higher level than any one of us played it back then. It was obvious. I was like, hey, give them their credit. They've evolved the game. They've taken the game to a higher level. I didn't like run jabbing. I certainly don't like glitch jabbing. I'm not going to come back to it, but they have clearly raised the bar. Here's Lex. See me in WaveNet, bitch. You ain't done shit. Like, literally, Rio was talking about like some strategies on Test Your Might. Lex
A
is on
tier
there. He
list in
goes,
like 2009,
yeah,
yeah. Well, he
yeah,
quoted
right.
me and was like, "Bro, who are you? Like, all you do is jab.
Yeah.
I seen you play. You're not good. Like, what do you know? What do you mean Katana's good jabbing?"
Yeah.
And he was very condescending, and I didn't understand why at the time, but now I know. Now that I've been filled into more of the lore behind Lex, I kind of understand why he
So
responded
Rio
that
didn't
way.
know who Lex was,
Tom,
right?
let me just
Yeah,
do this real quick.
they really despise the jabs. Rio, I think, was a
Yeah, see,
lot
I
of
didn't
it.
know that. I
It
thought he was
wasn't.
just salty for no reason or mad
Yeah, it
because I
wasn't a
placed clean out
personal
lower.
thing. I think it was mostly the jabs. They hate to see the jab gameplay. And to real quickly, I wanted to also touch on what Tom said. Like, I'm also known here locally for like, because I play other fighting games too. Like you were saying, Rio, like you get what you train for in a sense. Like, like some of these guys like to play long sets, but then when tournaments come, they crumble or they can't do as
Yeah, because it
well.
takes them like
And
eight,
it's
10 games to adapt, and the game's over
exactly
on
so.
on match 3.
Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
So you
It
have to
shows
train.
adaptation for
You
sure.
have to train what you have. In my opinion, it's best to have for
To a,
both
to a,
worlds.
adapt quickly. Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
in my opinion, it's best to have both. You have to train that. You have to train first to two, first to three, first to fives to be able to excel like that in short sets. But also, I think it's good to have that endurance for long sets because I see a lot of guys that can just do one or
But
the
see,
other.
long sets
But
to me are about practicing. It's
right,
about
right,
like,
Yeah,
it's
it
about
also gives you
practicing for
endurance to
tournament.
play a long tournament too,
right,
because you're used to playing
exactly.
4.
100%.
Because that's a
100%.
huge part of it, Rio. Exactly. Being at a tournament, like people that don't travel and play in tournaments, and this is the perfect segue into what Dave was asking me to bring back was the online
Dubson,
players
can I just say
versus the
this?
offline
Dubson,
versus the
can I just say
offline players because being at an offline tournament in itself is a marathon. So what I wanted to really bring up was like I remember back in like the MK11 days there was a player named Koizi, I think, But like I remember that everyone was saying that this Koizi player never was gonna go offline. You know what I mean? And like he was like, or he or she or they
Did they
was
ever
like the
end up
number.
going offline? I don't
They
remember,
were
but I
the
remember the
number
player you're
one
talking
ranked
about.
player, I think,
Yeah, they
multiple
were.
times. But
He
like,
was the best player
and
in
so
MK11 online for a while. Like he was.
there's UMK3 players like that too that want to be the best online. You know what I mean? But if you don't come offline and you don't have offline results, and it ties into what he's talking about with Lex, to be fair, but like, if you don't show up, in my opinion, and you guys have said this, then you can't really say nothing. You know what I mean? And
The
these
problem with
guys,
casual,
Yeah,
I
I
think,
Koizi
mean,
was a Sechon player. He was ranked number
yeah,
one
and
they're,
Elder God
I
for
think,
like 6-10 months on like the end of the first year.
yeah. Let
But
me
I
just
think
say
there
one more
needs
thing
to
about
be a
this like
distinction.
situation. Hold on, Dave. I want to clear this up with the situation because here's ultimately the thing. The difference is like, take Lex. Rio is posting some stuff about the game, how it's currently played. Lex comes in condescending. You better watch out with them jabs, dog. Don't get caught by that random spin, get infinited. And Rio's like, "Oh, we got a random scrub here, boys." Like he didn't know who
Well, I was
Lex
trying to match
was.
his energy back because he was making it seem like I didn't know
Yeah,
what I
but
was talking
so
about.
and he didn't realize how glitch jabs affect the game. So Rio was trying to educate him, like, no, just gonna block that spin while I'm jabbing you. And then
If
Lex
he
is
were
like,
to
no,
just
see me at
explain why Kun Lao was top tier or Kane or whatever, I would be like, okay, we can have a discussion now. But it never went to that. It always devolved into you don't know what you're doing. I
but
seen you
see, here's the
play.
difference
You're just a
also.
jabber. You're not really good
Here's
at the
the
game.
difference. Summoning Lex, any OG, here's the difference. The reason why only one person in history has gone from the first MK1 to the modern era of Mortal Kombat who has long enough to even do whatever in Injustice 1. Um, is because it's just a more adaptive mindset. So let's say like I was the guy in the arcade in MK9. Let's say I play Detroit and Detroit's like mopping me up. And I would be like, oh shit, I got to learn this stuff. Like they've evolved the game past my time. I'd be like, yo, Detroit, let's get some more sets. Teach me what you're doing. Show me how to do this, right? Let me learn. Let me level up. Here's the OGs, which is why they stay OGs and not into the modern era. Dog, ban that shit. Get
Right,
that shit out the game. What you
right,
playing on, dog? Keyboard too? Jabs and keyboard? Yo,
right,
disqualify this man from the tournament. That's why OGs stay being considered people that have a quote unquote scrub mindset, quote unquote. That's why no OG can go from one MK to the next outside of one because they put themselves in a box that MK should be played this way, and anything outside of that, even if somebody finds a better way to play, should be banned or they should be disqualified or they're cheating or whatever other word they want to use.
right. And I'm of the mindset of Tom. Like if someone's beating me down with some different technique or some evolution, then I want to learn what that is. I'm not gonna say, oh, you're playing a different game or you're not playing it how it's supposed to be played or blah blah blah. I'm gonna rise to that. You know what I mean? So that's the cloth I'm cut from too. But if we're looking at the modern tournament situation with like Street Fighter 6 and things like that, because I play a lot of Street Fighter 6 also, but you know arcade sticks are maybe in the minority in terms of controller types at this point. They have keyboards, hitboxes, pads. I have a friend who has an arcade stick. This dude just drilled a hole under the buttons to give him another button because these hitboxes have so many buttons. Back in the day, my arcade sticks would only have 6 buttons. My Street Fighter layout arcade sticks. But now with Street Fighter 6, you don't. I still rock 6, but like a lot of guys will rock 8 because they want a button for parry and they want a button for DI and things like that. So, if they're allowing pretty much any control, it's a wild, wild west, dude. I think some dude showed up with like a steering wheel and some other wild shit.
Yeah, I
Okay,
remember that.
Really?
I'm a warrior,
Yeah.
bro. Like if you want to come play me with one input per button and one direction per button, I don't care what you're playing on. Okay, I want to fight you at your best. That's my mentality. Okay, so that's where the Street Fighter 6 mindset is at. Why can't MK get on board with that shit?
Well, Dobson, you remember even again, I mentioned this example in the last episode for Street Fighter 4. Players like Daigo would map a button for the select button, so they can
Right, yeah, for plinking, right. And Daigo, I
exactly.
think he switched to hitbox. He's playing on hitbox, I think, these days, but
Yeah.
it also ties. There's top control players, high level players, whatever, for every controller type, guys. They were talking about how Four was playing on keyboard against Detroit. Dude, I've been
Yeah,
told
but
that
he's
4
a
plays on
stick
arcade
player.
stick.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
stick
and
player.
if we look at Marv, the number
He's
one
just
player in
his
the world
inputs
right
look
now.
so clean and ridiculous that people thought it was keyboard because that's how good he is on a stick.
Exactly.
They
And
were
it
like,
can
no
be
way
hard
this
for
guy's
some
on a
people to
stick.
fathom. Right, but it's just the truth. I mean, like you saw early on with Marvin Rasta Rio, like, anyone with any controller can play at that level. There's
Yeah, you just got to
examples
really
of people
grind
on
and play the
pad.
game and put your.
Exactly, man. The pilot makes the controller, in my opinion. A keyboard is not going to turn Steve Urkel into Michael Jordan.
I
Okay,
agree.
the pilot is what makes the controller.
It's more about the player behind it.
Yeah, and regardless if one has a faster input or whatever, it comes down to the pilot, and it also comes down to accuracy. So, to say Detroit would be the same player on an arcade stick or a pad, I cannot say that. Because it's the combination of keyboard and him that is where he is right now. Now, maybe he can do it. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I cannot assume it. And I can't do that with any player because the level they're at is the level they're at with who they are and what controller they're using. Now I've seen players switch controllers and get to the same level or even surpass it. It's possible, but I can't assume it just based on whatever.
That's like
Dubson,
somebody
let me.
playing
Best
basketball
to
against
play
somebody
whatever you're
going, "Well, you
comfortable
can't beat
on.
me without 3-pointers, though, dog. You can't beat me
Right,
without that pat." I mean, come on, man. Like,
right,
I mean, that's what he plays on is what he plays on.
right,
I personally think if this game, the offline and online was better, I think regular MK3 and MK2 would probably be the two games that the modern player plays, the two games least affected by the jabbing. I think
right.
that's where the modern player would probably go
I
to.
think I think trilogy or two, and
Yeah,
I've
MK4 also
I've been
isn't
the
jab
best.
heavy like that either.
I've been the best player in the world in MK2 also. I'm not being I've won tournaments for all these games, so I'm not being except for MK4, and I'm not trying to be biased, but MK4 I think has its own problems too that need to be highlighted, like the unblockables and the glitch jabs are still in it, and it has its fair share of it has player one priority 100% of the time. In
Wait.
trilogy
So the player party
it
doesn't switch in MK4? It's always player
no, in
one?
MK4 it's player one 100% of the
Player
I
time.
didn't
one
know this. So it
always.
has the
And
MK9
so
issue.
also, yeah, it
Then that
does,
means
and
you have
that's
to
one of my
fight.
problems
You have
with
to fight for
MK9.
player one.
And
Then you have to fight for
also,
player
player
one.
one has access to a little better combos
Dude,
than
I
player
was
two
just gonna say that
because
exactly. I mean,
player
really?
two
Tom,
has the
Wait,
same.
what?
Yeah, it has the
dude,
same.
it's
Wait,
so
hold
bad.
on. Wait.
It's so
So you're
bad that you
telling me?
almost like the
Wait,
It's got
combos
the
between
same bug
player
that
one
was
and
in
player two.
MK1 this year.
Yeah,
Guys,
yeah,
let
they
me-
hold
had to
on.
change.
Wait. We got to talk about this. So you're telling me in MK4, player one not only has advantage over priority, but they also have better combos that they can do over player two.
Yeah, certain
And
player
this, are we sure
has
this doesn't
depending on the
switch
character.
between rounds? It doesn't like go to player two.
No, like
No, it's
Tanya,
100% of the
two,
time.
three-
Then that
100% of
means
the
every
time it's
time you
player
play
one.
MK4, you have to do rock paper scissors to make sure you get player one. Then you have
Dude,
to do
that's
that
what
for
I'm saying. As a
that's-
tournament organizer, like, and you're trying to host MK4, like, some of the combos are so different between player one and player two, and some of the balancing and the issues and the problems with MK4, you almost
That's
have
actually
to
so
switch
dumb.
seats. You almost have to switch seats after every match, or you
Dubson,
have to
why?
put
Why
in
didn't
some
nobody
fair
talk
way.
about this? This is like a big deal. Why I don't? This
They're
is the first
not
time I'm
trying to
hearing
I've
about it.
highlight
always
it. They're,
talked about it. I've always
Can-
talked
can-
yeah,
about it.
Tom has, but some people aren't trying to highlight it for their own agenda. You know what I mean? But again,
But why
there's
is
That's
enough
actually a
room for
bit
every
sad.
MK. There's enough room for every MK at the
So
table.
if you play Kombat League Online, if they do add it for Legacy and you play MK4, if you're not player one, you're just kind of fucked. Like you're playing at a
But hold on,
disadvantage.
Dubson,
Yeah, and like
why is it like that?
Biggs was saying like, oh, like just don't be player one or don't be reptile. It's like, dude, that's not a matchup, dude. Like a matchup is starting on the same footing and the same amount of health and at least having a chance. That's not a matchup, dude.
But can
He
you
was
talk
saying to
about
play it
why?
as a matchup, like pretend you have Half-Life or Reptile for this matchup.
It's
Guys,
just
you
not
gotta let
apples
me
to
ask a
apples in
question.
my
You
opinion.
guys keep interrupting me, like with all due respect.
Sorry,
You
Dave,
gotta
sorry.
let me ask. Uh, I just want to ask very basic stuff. Like, why is it like that? Is it because I guess the player one has an inherent, like, I don't know, 5 frame advantage? Is that what
Isn't
it
it
is?
crazy,
It makes no
Brady, to
sense because
think that they
UMK3 didn't
still
have that.
have this? Is well, yeah, that's what's
Yeah.
so in
UMK3
MK
didn't have that.
Trilogy. You said which one doesn't have it?
UMK3
No,
didn't have where it's always
Yeah,
player one has it. It
UMK3 is the
alternates.
UMK3 is the only one that alternates. Also, MK3 and Trilogy do. All the MK3s do.
Yeah,
But
they all
Trilogy,
alternate who has
what's
priority.
great, what's great about
Does
Trilogy too is
MK2
like
have
if you're
that
doing
issue?
3v3. Oh, sorry, Dave. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Like
no, no, no. It's okay.
if
I'm
you're
just trying to
doing
get like,
if
yeah.
you're
I
doing
mean,
No,
3v3 in
what we're
Trilogy,
saying is it's weird
you
that
can
okay.
see you can see the frame advantage in the glitch cancel switch in the 3v3 and Trilogy. That's another great thing about it is you can see it switching to between the fights.
Does MK2 have the issue?
MK2 also has player 2 frame advantage 100% of the time.
Wait, so it's always player 2? Wow.
Correct. Same
I
with
didn't,
MK1.
I didn't know that.
3 Ultimate and Trilogy are the only ones that alternate, which is cool about them. But in MK2, it's not really a big issue because it's so projectile based and it's not as jab based. It doesn't really affect it as much. But in MK1, it's pretty significant for sure.
Yeah, because MK when you're glitch shotting, whoever has priority, they're going to be beating me out all the time. So it's like, what the hell?
Exactly.
I did not know it was this bad with MK4 though. First time I'm hearing it. How not only do you have the advantage always on player 1, but you also have a unique combo. You get better combos.
In my opinion, 4 has a lot of problems.
I thought Tom has talked about this before, but I
no, I remember Tom mentioning the unblockables and maybe the player 1, but I don't remember Tom saying, "Hey man, if you're player 1, you also get these better Tanya combos." This and that. That's a bit too much of an
Tanya
advantage.
Player 1, do corkscrew, run low punch, corkscrew. She can do a 3 corkscrew combo. So corkscrew, run low punch.
And what is her combo on player 2 side?
She just can't do the 3rd corkscrew.
Dude, isn't that dropping a lot of damage though for missing a whole special?
Yeah, it's significant, man.
So that means every time you play a match, you have to tell your opponent, "Hey man, we got to get up, switch chairs now after every match."
Yeah, and it's not just her. As a tournament organizer, it's a mess, And he tried to say that, or he said that the U.S. standard was like typically gold. I don't know. What is that based on? I don't think that's based on anything other than the one time we ran it at CKK and it had.
Does gold have that issue as well, or is that fixed in there?
It had 2
MK4
people.
is not a tournament game.
And I think DDY entered it just to support it, So I don't know what that's based on. Like they mostly played the 64 version in South America.
Wait, but
that's what they.
Does gold also have the same issue, or is it fixed in there?
Yeah, gold has the same issues.
Even the console
They're
ports?
a little different though. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so in the arcade, we didn't know about glitch step.
Player 1 advantage all the time.
And obviously we didn't know about glitch jabs.
Glitch step, yeah.
We knew Reptile couldn't block anything. So like Tanya, GG's enjoy that free 45%. Reiko was going to clock kick. GG's enjoy that 40+%.
That's 50 for Reiko.
Yeah, Reiko. We knew that there was a stupid bug where Reiko would do a bone breaker on Liu Kang, and then he couldn't block the clock kick. Yeah, good. But if you glitch step any bone breakers, anyone had a glitch step, none of them can block it. We didn't know that because we didn't know about glitch stepping. But we also didn't know, like Biggs has it broken down to a science. There's more unblockables, like Jax and I believe Scorpion can't block Reiko's clock kick. Biggs says it's down to the frame, so maybe nobody will do it. What I know is in the modern era, whenever somebody says nobody will do it, everybody does it. So I mean, I don't buy into that. But it's just kind of dumb between the player 1 and player 2 stuff. The unblockables, like you need to have too many custom rules to have an MK4 tournament. It just
okay. So really quickly, if you guys had to word it to me, who's not an MK4 player, right? If I was going to play, if you were going to go play in tournament for MK4, how important is this to you? Like, would you be thinking before you sit down to play opponent, like I need to get player 1, like I need that start. Like, is it that important?
Totally. I mean, I think everyone in this chat would say that we're all competitive players. Those are my problems with 4. I think it's hard as a competitive game. I don't know if it's good.
It depends on who I'm playing versus who they're playing. Basically.
Well, dude,
Tanya, I don't want. Yeah, if they're Tanya,
well,
if that's the answer, then that says enough in itself, right?
Well, this is my problem. You're trying to get me back into these older games.
Dave, I didn't really play much MK4, so I wasn't. I don't know why Dave's putting the blame on me trying to hype up MK4. I wasn't the one telling you. I was telling you the other games, not MK4.
I think Ultimate is just as bad. But anyway, stop trying to get people into older games when they're this flawed. Guys, here's
I never once said the games are not flawed or balanced. I never said any of these.
Dave, on that note, super important. Like, I think it's super important, dude, for a franchise to be able to have a foundation. Like, the classics are the foundation of this IP. It's the same with Street Fighter. They always support their classics. Midway or NRS has like barely supported the classics. I feel like they only did this MKLK to get some money because MK1 flopped so hard and they need money. WB's for sale. Like, it's just something in their pocket. Like,
the reason. Hold on, Dubson. With all due respect, I think.
Hold on. Why am I getting blamed for being the reason why MK3, MK4 bad? This and that. I'm not the one that worked on the game.
We have to let you other talk. Like, I'm sorry, I've been listening a
Right,
lot.
but
Can I
we
please?
can't make ridiculous claims like that. And like
I
I
know,
didn't,
and I'm a little
I never
elaborate.
went around
So,
saying UMK2 had no flaws or its balance or this and that. I never was misleading people.
well, look, I will touch upon that point in 1 second, and I think you have a right to be defensive, and you have a right to question what I'm saying. I think you have a point. But to go back to Dobson's real quick discussion about, mention about the fact that MK legacy is supposed to be like, to some extent, I don't know, a compensation for MK1. No, it's supposed to buy time for the next MK game, right? Like essentially that's what it's designed to do. It sucks to
Yeah, but
say,
it's
but
not buying any time because apparently right now it's like dying already, and we're
Right.
not even in
yeah,
week one. So
early,
what
and
buying time?
I,
Like,
I mean,
Well,
and again, I have so many takes about this, but like we know for a fact that um they are working on something else. By they, I mean NRSs, right? There's almost no doubt
you
about
know
this,
what's
right?
gonna
They're
save
just
MK? That movie coming out soon. I'm joking.
oh, dude, that shit was so bad.
I'm
It
joking.
actually made Annihilation look good. That's how bad the other movie was.
well,
That isn't that
hold
crazy?
on. One topic at a well, let's do one topic at a time. As far as Rio's comment is concerned, all I'm saying is, man, I don't want to play a game for like 6 months and find out, oh, guess what? You can't do the combo on the player two side. Ha!
Okay,
Sucker!
but can we
I
not
will say,
act like I
Dave.
was making videos? Wait, can we not act like I was making videos telling people, "Hey guys, play UMK3. It's perfect, no flaws, perfectly balanced, no
Well,
bugs or glitch." Like that never happened.
no, Rio, I don't
No,
mean you had any Rio.
In
I don't
my
mean
opinion, MK3 is better than UMK3 for a couple of reasons.
MK3's
One,
under. I played it for a bit with the Troy
yeah,
and
it's
stuff. We were
underrated.
having fun.
so,
I was expecting the game to be so bad and terrible, but it's actually a bit fun.
this is just my opinion. This is not factual. It's subjective. This is just to me. I'm speaking for me. And I'm not saying it's factually better, but to me, I like it better because specials are a little more impactful.
Yeah,
For one, you don't have the jump in combo with punch,
right.
which means if you jump in combos with kick are a little more skillful.
Yeah, you have to
Um,
kind of hiccup from them. You can't just jump in, punch, auto.
yeah, like Liu Kang could
Yeah.
do jump kick, fireball, fly
Blind kick,
kick,
that's like
Sub-Zero.
They
45.
played
That
more
hits.
like
That's hard. Yeah,
MK1
that's
and
hard.
2 with the combos. That's why a lot of
Right.
the classic guys, they when 3 went to Ultimate, they left. They left. They didn't like that change for what Tom is talking about right now.
Yeah. Also,
Also, wait, Tom, it feels very good to punish sweeps with Jax's dash punch. I love that feeling.
it
In
does.
yeah,
Also,
Oh,
a
MK3.
few more.
for sure. They
Hold on.
should have never nerfed that, in my
Yep,
opinion.
I agree.
A few more things about it. So specials are more impactful. Jax's fireball, Sub-Zero's clone,
For Shang
Cabal's
Tsung's fireballs are better too. They nerfed that in UMK3 for no
fireball's
reason.
better. Also, Liu Kang, like counter hit bike kick, used to guarantee run into
Full
so
combo.
if you did a sweep on Liu Kang, unless it was Jax, Sonya, or Kano, it was bike kick in a full combo.
Right.
Then they made it so after bike kick he couldn't run. He could only do it on the combo on
I don't know
counter
why they
hit.
nerfed Liu Kang.
Liu Kang
Right.
dropped significantly when they took that away from him. So I mean, like in my opinion, it's just better. I mean, UMK3 is still fine. I mean, a lot of the same things transfer over. I just prefer MK3.
Yeah, MK3 and UMK3 they're very different games. It's like going
They're
from
very
UMK3 to
different.
Trilogy. They're like
It
their own
is
game.
exactly right. And I try
Tom,
to
can I?
represent different characters sometimes because the balance is so bad in Ultimate. But to Dave's point, like he said in one of the other podcasts, it's really just a meta preference, to quote him. And they all have a really
But
different meta.
Dobson also quote you. People have agendas, and I don't mean like the Troy or Bigs have agendas, but like if we really wanted to, Tom, Rio, and I could be like, guys, Armageddon, boys, let's start a scene. We placed high. It's all about us. We are the ones in charge. Like if you have any idea what Armageddon and even Deception is like to a much, much lesser extent than the Alliance, you guys would call us stupid. But because most of you don't have the information, we can fake the
I would.
narrative to an extent to like make a scene in which we would dominate, you know, take out our cocks and make us look good, right? Like, but we never did that. Like, and there's a reason we never did. Guess what?
Whoa, I'm not doing
Because
that. But yeah, Armageddon was definitely not good. Like that would never happen.
well,
But I see what Dave's saying. He's saying if we were to just lie to you guys and blow smoke and be like, Armageddon, best game, you guys never played it. Here's why it's so good. This and that. Because you guys never played it,
Well,
you guys can't
I
fact
think
check
that's
us.
but
I
that's
think
part of the
that's what people
problem
are
is we
doing.
got to stop
That's what
saying
people are
that
doing.
certain games are bad or that because to someone it's
Dobson,
good, dude, and it's
Dobson,
MK, but like,
Yeah.
but because also Dave, like, on that note of like the problems with the classic games, the problems they have, dude. On that note, pretty much all the classic retro games that weren't part of a modern era where you could patch games on the fly have some kind of dirt in it, dude.
I understand that, but don't you think there's some kind of objectivity? Like, for example, Deception. I was the best player at that game. And Tom will give you the word at the very end, but I don't. There's
It was
no reason
between you and Versa, but yeah, you probably were like you were the
to
person
versus
to beat in
versus
Deception.
Sub-Zero. I
Yeah,
used
I
the
know
fucking
about
shit.
your status
Yeah.
for sure in Deception,
I wish
Yeah,
Dave.
I stayed
but it's
around for
not even
Dave.
about my
I stopped
status
playing
or
it, but
even
I wish I
Tom's
could play
status.
Dave.
It's not even
That'd have been
about
fun.
anybody's status. Like the point is, like I
No,
feel like
Dave was like the person to beat in Deception. He was the best, and there were a
Right.
lot of people playing
so
Dairu back then. Actually, it was you versus Yayo. Yayo was super good too.
yeah. But anyway, I never talk. When was the last time I even mentioned Deception on this podcast? I never talk about it because
Yeah,
it's
well,
not about my
because yeah,
care, right? It's not because I'm not trying to, from a nostalgic perspective, from a sugarcoating perspective, to promote those games because I know those games are trash, and I feel like people sometimes, not all, are trying to do the same thing with the other games,
but to
right?
be
Like
fair, Dave, some people don't care if the games are trash. They still like Armageddon Deception just for what the game is. Like they literally don't
I
care if it's
understand that, but
broken.
I feel like people don't tell the whole story. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
like they,
Ryu is
you have to kind of tell people what they're going to be getting into. You have to be honest with everything. Don't
got
just say
exposed.
some of the stuff.
Ryu got blamed for saying that he was like, "Hey, Ultimate has these glitch apps." Oh my God, Ryu, why are you telling the people the game is bad? Like, dude,
Yeah, I was
he's
getting
not.
roasted when I was doing those glitch
Like,
chat videos to
guys,
explain.
all the Ultimate players are so insecure about their game. They literally have to attack a guy who's just describing the meta. By the way, not
Yeah, but
in any.
I don't think you have to label the game's trash though, Dave.
But Dobson, there
Any
is
of them.
objectivity. But Deception is trash as a competitive player. That's just a fact. And I'm telling you,
Right, but some people like that crazy. You get hit once, get 100% combo, or you do it infinite. Like
oh,
some people
there
don't
are
mind
better
that.
options.
Let me
People
It's
say
like
one more
that.
thing about
There's
MK3. I
game
forgot to mention something that's very important also. Kung Lao's spin only has a hitbox on its hat, so he's not going to catch you grounded with it.
Oh,
Kung
that's
Lao
You
in
can't run
general,
into it.
Kung Lao in general is bad in MK3. He can't even do
You
teleport
can't
combo.
run into it. Yeah. You can't run into it. So it has to be like an anti-air only. Like you can't
right.
actually physically run into it grounded. They gave it a bigger hitbox and whatever and whatever. I mean, like it in a lot of ways, yeah, of course it's nerfed because all he has is that infinite. But I mean, like you don't need WaveNet to do that. You can have it in this game.
Because
So
like they also said, like, I think it was Nit was saying like MK1 is quote unquote ruined by glitch tabs. I don't think it's ruined by glitch tabs. It's just like have some people have already said it's just an evolved way to play the game. I don't think it's like warped or anything like that, like or Sub Zero's that strong or anything like that. Like Sonya was a serious problem before glitch tabs really took
Yeah,
off like
so
that.
yes,
actually,
let's
can you
Or Sub
touch in
Zero
on
got it.
MK1 because you played it competitively? How good is glitch jabbing in that game? Because I know
It
you
is
played it
the
competitive. You
it's the
also played at
complete
CKK.
yeah, it is the complete meta of MK1, just like Ultimate, but it is really tough in MK1 because of how unsafe everything is. Like it can really turn into a turtle fest. If someone gets a life lead and starts glitch jabbing, MK1 is really hard to make up ground in. Like, and by that I mean reverse the life lead. But some people were spreading misinformation like Sub Zero's slide isn't punishable. It is punishable. If you watched me playing Roseville Reaper and I play him online all the time, the slide is punishable. It's pretty much a just frame punish though. So if you watched my match with Scorpion, like I'll punish it a lot. But the thing is to be ready. You have to be ready for it all the time, and it is so fast that if you don't have a just frame punish on command,
yeah.
obviously you're not going to be able to punish it
So you have to
all the
be
time. So
yeah, you have to anticipate it basically and be
I
ready for the
personally
punish.
think
Right.
MK2 is probably the best of all the Mortal Kombats. MK2 has got weird stuff, man, in it. Like, yeah, Jax, high kick, ground pound, repeat, Melina. It is what it is. Liu Kang. But MK2's got weird stuff in it. Like, even a character like Sub Zero, counter hit sweep is ground puddle, whatever. It's got weird
right,
stuff. It's weird that
right.
MK has had counter hits then, but not now, which is also kind of
Exactly.
weird.
That was
Yeah, that
so
is
sick and
odd.
ahead of its time.
It's
It was
it's
so
kind
ahead
of
of its
weird.
time.
It's kind of weird. But getting back to Legacy Collection, man, it just doesn't feel good. Like, even I'm playing regular MK3 and freeze them in the corner, jump kick, freeze. Even if you simplify it, just jump kick, ice clone, and then, whiff, ice shower, roundhouse, come in and just keep it simple as possible. It doesn't feel good. It's awkward. The input delay is like I don't want to say, oh, I'll practice it to get it down in these conditions. It sucks. I hate it.
Right.
MK2. So I'm going to give Nit credit here. I rarely used to miss. They called it the golden punch. We call it death punch.
Yeah.
Rarely did I miss it. I mean, rarely. And
He's really good
Nit
too.
is one of the most consistent people I've ever seen on earth with this.
Yeah, he's
Like,
Can you
sick
explain
with
how
it.
you do
Like-
it? Is it just distance thing or is it a timing
It's how
thing?
It's a
how you-
timing.
it's timing. It's
Yeah.
and it's first of all, it's not the easiest to anti-air with high punch in that game anyway.
Yeah, you have to be very precise
fact-
with the anti-air high
The
punch.
fact
Right,
that
right,
Nit is
right.
so precise with it and gets the golden punch down every time. The
Yeah.
beauty is you don't need you can just Jack's high kick out of the air and it works just fine. But the fact that Nit does that for fun is like beyond phenomenal. For me,
Right.
it is impossible for me to get that online. I've been practicing quite a bit. I've got it very consistent again now. It is impossible to do that online.
Well, are you playing on
playing s-
Fightcade or are you playing on MKLK?
I'm playing on MKLK,
Well,
and I
there's
was
part of the problem right there.
and I was playing online with Raiden also. I was just fucking around. People don't know how to play the game. Catching with Shocker, you're never gonna do 2x high punch Superman ever. You're just gonna have to mash roundhouse just to get a basic.
Yeah,
whatever.
just to get something.
It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. I love how Base says, and this is my issue. Well, I just gotta dumb my shit down, dog, to get those babies. But when you have to play and dumb it down, MK loses a lot of its complexities.
Right.
It takes it from people looking at it as, hey, that scrubby game, to there is some complexity to it. So because the online is so garbage that you have to, with the input delay and everything else that goes along with that,
Right,
you have to
exactly.
dumb your game down. MK loses all its complexity and it becomes just a simple game online,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
which is the problem. Which you're never going to get anybody into it. And it's the same thing for. The weird thing about online is, for every one person, for every like Jugs or Base that says the connection is good, but the input delay is bad, for every one of those, you see 100 videos of the most god awful online connection. And then when
Right.
someone's like, "Hey, dog, they must not have that FiOS," dude, it's almost Omega speed internet is very easy to afford today. No one's Booyah out here. God rest his soul. Where he's remember Rio Booyah
Rest in
was
peace, yeah.
losing. So Booyah.
He was like,
got his-
just, hey guys, you guys want to run a set?
He
Just downgraded my
downsized his
connection. I'm like,
budget.
damn. You know?
he
And then covers this.
downgraded-
He's like, hey Tom, you want to run it back my flash? I downgraded my net, so let me see if you can punish my.
downgraded
That shit
his
was crazy,
connection.
man. I remember Christmas gift didn't want to play him anymore after that. He was like, nah, boy, you're like too fake with your moves. And I was like, Christmas gift, this is what you do to other people. What do you mean? Now you finally see.
Oh,
Maybe
my
read
Christmas
the
gift.
same thing
thing
with
of
Serena
that.
and MK Armageddon.
Yeah, I mean, like, so
Okay, well, I'll let that go. But anyway, go ahead.
it's just not fun. It's just not fun. Like it's the thing. It's a big loss for Mortal Kombat in general because the MK community like has no way to. It's not going to build off MK1.
The foundation for the classics has got to be there. Capcom has always been so good about that, about making re-releases for their classic games and supporting them. You know, Midway and NRS, it's like, dude, they're always on to the next one. You know,
Okay,
as soon as the last one comes out, they're on to the next one, and it's like they don't even recognize their classics like that.
May I ask how old
That's
you are,
the
by the way?
foundation. I'm
Just want some
38.
ages here.
I'm
38.
38.
Okay,
But I have
38.
older
So,
brothers your age, Tom.
but I mean, my
And
point
cousins.
is, so like when MK2 was out, you were
Yeah, I
an
was a
infant.
kid. Yeah, I was a
Yeah,
kid.
that's what I mean. I'm talking to the arcade era, like Dream TR era.
Right,
etc.
right. But I still went, with my older brothers
I
and my older
understand,
cousins,
100%.
and
You
I
were
played
still-
my whole life, you know what I'm saying? But obviously,
absolutely.
and this goes back to like Nit and James and like even Lex, like I'll always respect, and always say this, everyone is a victim of the time that they were in, they can't help it. You
Well,
know
Lex
what I
just
mean?
can't
So
get out of it. Like, look, Lex does not have to stay playing UMK3. Lex plays UMK3.
Yeah, but so can we be honest
because-
here about Lex? Was he good though back then at the very
oh,
least?
for sure, dude. And he's still good now. He's a great player, dude.
Good,
Yeah, because I
not
feel
great.
like
Good, not great.
But was he
Great to
considered
be
the best in
great.
his area? Like, okay, you could
He
say he
was
never
No.
traveled.
considered. He was
No.
considered the guy,
No.
like him,
So who was
mower,
winning?
bow, and
Okay,
thrower.
then wait, hold on. But who was winning in tournaments back then in Chicago? If it wasn't Lex, Tom.
It was
They
them in
didn't really-
Chicago,
they didn't
but
really
Brady
do-
was
they didn't really
traveling
do
the whole
tournaments.
country.
They didn't
Yeah,
really
yeah. But
do
I'm saying,
tournaments like
but
that.
whenever they held things in Chicago that they,
They
all played in,
really
who was the
hold-
one that would usually was it Lex?
They said that they did hold tournaments in
Yeah,
Chicago,
few and far between.
but like, yeah, but
Yeah, but
Brady
Tom,
was
I'm
going all
saying,
over the country. I get that.
but did Lex win
But-
those tournaments that he entered there? I know he didn't
I-
travel, but did he win them when he entered
He
there?
In MK3 because he wasn't around for it. He became a tester in the end of UMK3 into WaveNet.
No, so
But
he
it was
came
also a
late into
hotspot for
UMK3,
the
so he
game.
wasn't there in the
So-
beginning, is what you're saying.
He came into UMK3 and WaveNet. So the thing ultimately is with, because base is like when my base says XYZ, I'm 48, Jimmy's 55, Nit's in his 50s. I believe base is around my age. So let me tell you what happens. If you make this game and say, yo, but it's for the OGs, dog. You're talking about a
Right.
bunch of 50 plus old
Yeah,
men.
exactly, dude.
right?
You have to
So-
have online play. No one's coming over to
So do you
people's couches
understand
and
what that
shit.
means? A bunch of 50 plus men who are in their life and on real life stuff. How many hours a night do you think we have to play? So that means if you
Right.
get on at 8 a.m., no one's going to be on. You get on at noon, no one's going to be on. You got to get on at like 10 p.m. when all of us old men are done at work from work and getting on to play. That means 95% of the day there won't be a single fucking match to be had. You need younger players because old
Right.
men in their late 40s and 50s are not going to be on the game grinding all day. There's going to be no one to fucking play. Why do you think Steam has so few concurrent players? Because there's a bunch of 50-year-old men saying, "Oh, it's for the OGs. We love it." Dog, you alienated 99% of Earth. Like it can't work.
yeah. I mean,
It
some
can't
of us. I
work.
mean, we still play offline sometimes. Sure, my friends come over, we play offline. But yeah, adults, it's you got to have that online option. You know what I mean? And that's just where we're at.
Well,
Yeah,
let me, Brady, let me tell you the story. It's about you, and then I have to go because at least me, you guys can keep going because we're almost 3 hours in. But I'm gonna go back to the highly interesting discussion that Dobson mentioned about tournaments versus online play. I think personally, Tom's best moment was not in a tournament. Not going to talk about how he beat me in a set with Sub-Zero against Freddy, which is a very difficult matchup. Tom's best moment, Tom's best moment, which I don't know why Mike Hollow doesn't talk about because if he got his head up his ass, well, not even MLG. If Mike actually wanted to discuss the issues, not social topics, which is a lot what he does, uh, was when Tom Brady beat Theo, the so-called defensive god.
That was one of the hypest money matches, by the way.
That was
For
not, by
Injustice
the way,
1.
so money matches. I think
Bro, the
to
way
an
Tom explained the story is funny too. He was like, I went up to a hotel room. They're like, and then I go in there and it's like a trap. Everyone's waiting and it's a money match all of a sudden.
yeah.
It's like, what
So-
did I just walk into?
So let me tell you. So I wish Rio would play that one moment on his
Real
stream.
real quick. I promise I'll let you talk. So Tom was essentially, in this case, like the biggest underdog of all time. Everybody was kind of rooting against him. I think in that one set, he also, if I'm not mistaken, was down maybe like 4-2,
4-1.
Yeah, and
4-1.
also nobody in that room thought Tom was going to win either. They all thought Theo
Yeah,
was just going to win that
Except
shit
for
free.
Slayer. Except for
He
Slayer.
Oh, except for
brought-
Slayer. Except for Slayer.
That is Tom's best moment of all time, bar none. It has nothing to do with tournaments. It's about the pressure that he was feeling and the immense humiliation that he was going to face on behalf of the NRS community at that point. But the way he came back, that tells you, by the way, nothing to do with the tournament, that he's a great player. Because very, very, very few, I'm talking about the Kitos, the Sonifas of the world, would be able to make that comeback with that, pressure, humiliation, et cetera, on the line, yet he did it. And that's kind of when in Ohio, like, oh my God. And it was so entertaining. That was one of the pinnacles of NRS games. And for us, like, to talk about these ultimate, and again, no disrespect to any game ever. I'm not against, like, nothing will ever matter. You guys played your games, whatever, 10 people in your basement. But this was live streamed in front of thousands of people. People were watching. There were people in the hotel room. That's the hype that we need to build. And that's the way to go. And I believe that was Tom Brady's best
Well,
moment
Dave,
ever.
this was kind of supposed to be that. Legacy Collection was supposed to be the hype to bring everybody to it and become
Yeah,
mainstream, and then it just
I
this
may say
happened.
something about that story, which is so funny that Dave remembered that. So what happened was, I took a break from Injustice because I was working on the Killer Instinct guide at Primo. So I had 6 months, between going to Microsoft and Primo, where I was back and forth, wasn't really playing Injustice. Now, Injustice netcode was garbage as far as east to west. So while I was on the West Coast in Sacramento for a couple of months, I thought I would be able to play some of the West Coast players online and the connection would be okay. So and I did not have very much time because we were, of course, as always, deadlines. We're always behind. So I ran into Theo one time online and he played me a handful of matches and he won and he left and he said he's done. And then like people in California were like, I just heard Theo mopped up Tom Brady, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I mean, I'm here working on the Killer Instinct guide. I just wanted to play some of these West Coast guys that I can't play when I'm back on the East Coast. So I go back to the East Coast. This is right after KI1 comes out. I mean, KI1, KI3 comes out. And I hadn't played in a while. I'm not expecting to do much at NEC. I'm also exhausted. I'm just there to support the community. I'm exhausted. I mean, I didn't sleep for months. I'm tired. So I go there. I lose in tournament. I haven't been playing. I didn't make any excuses. I just say GG's. I forget who I even lost to. GG's, good games. But of course, the MK community being what it is. Oh, Tom, we got this motherfucker. Now we're going to humiliate him. Because Theo was like, we're talking all this shit. Now I'm out of the tournament. So I didn't want to do a money match. I was like, no, I don't want to play for money. So Pig created this master plan to embarrass me in a hotel room. So Pig is like, hey, come up to my room. We'll have some drinks. We'll have some fun. I was like, yeah, cool, man. So I go up there. There is literally, if you see the video, 100 people in a tiny hotel room. And they're like, Tom, you got to play Theo right now on stream. I'm like, I don't want to play him for money. I mean, I haven't been playing the game. I'm going to lose. It's pointless.
Yeah, that was like a funeral setup.
Right. So they're like, Dud, you got to do it, man. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to. So I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So Slayer was like, no, man, you got this. I have faith in you. Slayer's the only one that had money on me. So I'm playing Theo and he's beating me. The room's quiet. And then like, I think, I go down 4-1 and then I get 4-2, then 4-3. And in my mind, I'm like, this guy's a choker. It's over. I remember when I tied it up 4-4 during a clash, I looked over at him and I slit my throat and I was like, it's over. And then the fifth game,
Brady
the last game,
activates Ultra Instinct.
yeah. And in fact, a matter of fact, if Rio, I don't know if Rio can pull it up on stream because I can't see his stream, unfortunately, because it doesn't let me.
I don't think I can because I don't have the browser thing on my stream. I'll have it set up next time. I'll have the podcast be better where we can start showing videos and all that.
I'd slit my throat at him, and the whole hotel room immediately erupts. And security came and threw everybody out because people were complaining with how loud the noise was. And later on, the MK community does what they do. If they think you should lose, and you do lose, get fucked. If you win, it doesn't count. To this day, Theo, who would spend months bashing me, even in Injustice 2, and I'm like, hey, you called old man Tom off the couch and you lost, And it's like, well, Tom's still bragging about that. And I'm like, you're still running me into the floor. Of course. I mean, like, what do you want to say? I will say this, when Theo started doing, and Theo was a great player, better than me in Injustice. He's an amazing defensive player. I used to watch his streams all the time.
One of the best.
He's better than me. It was just a money match. It doesn't really mean anything. The irony is that he called washed up Tom off the couch, and it was funny. I had to come back on him. Theo, remember they were doing report cards back in Injustice 1 with how are your footsies? How's this, right? Theo rated me poor everywhere except for one area. Clutch factor. I was the only S+.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
He gave, and in fact, in MK9, when 16-bit and all of them were doing the KTP, they gave me the most clutch player in MK9. So I've always been a very, very clutch player. In general, like constantly down, like final game, final round, and comeback, etc., which is just not easy to do on a consistent basis.
But Tom, we haven't had a moment like that in the NR, maybe even in the FGC in such a long time. It's kind of at least since
Yeah, but they buried it because it. You don't ever hear it talked about.
true. But I mean, the
That's
fact
because
that
it
I
happened
mentioned,
during Injustice 1. Justice 1's very underground. That's when the scene
well,
was.
I,
Yeah.
I would argue honestly,
This
I
is
would
over a
argue
decade ago.
I would argue in its first year it was definitely more popular than any
Yeah, no,
of
I
the.
know it was big, but I'm saying, like, in the grand scheme of things, to compare to games now, it was smaller.
But that's what makes people watch, and it's not necessarily the fighting game; it's
By
the
the way,
I
personalities.
agree. The
It's
hype stories and players'
yeah,
skills. Like
funny
Tom
story
said,
about
Tom did have
Dave
one of the
and
best comebacks.
Freddie. The Freddie story that Dave was alluding to was, it was funny. It was not in tournament. It was only casual, so it means nothing. But it was at MLG when something with Freddie and Dave goes, "Don't let me blow you up right now." And we played first to 3, and I did win that set. It was
yeah, yeah,
casuals. It was
yeah.
meaningless. It was casuals. It meant nothing.
I mean,
But it was funny. And Dave,
it
that you disappointed me. You killed me because the set I was looking most forward to, me and Rio were talking about the whole weekend. We were like, "Oh shit, if Dave and Pig win out, we get to see that." We were like, "Dude, Freddie
Yeah,
might be a
Tom,
real
don't
and
fuck
that
player."
with
was
me.
the worst match we've ever seen
Don't fuck
when it happened because of
Dave's,
Dave's controller issue.
This is
Dave's
why
controller breaks.
all the people who were glazing me, sucking my balls at that time, Rio, when my controller broke, even over Master D, that piece of garbage. Rio was my true friend. Is like, bro, here's my controller. And ever since that moment, I saw the guy's my brother. Like, even my cousin guys wouldn't give me a controller because it was fucking broken. I was so salty.
God's
You guys
Wait,
have no idea how
wait,
upset I
even your cousin's controller was broken?
No, he wouldn't give me his controller because he was a germ freak, whatever. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm struggling here. I can't do my spikes. Rio literally walks up to me, is like, dude, I know your controller isn't working. He gives it, and he gives me his controller. And I think at one point I won that one match, but it was too late because I couldn't do my far spike because my forward direction was broken because I was using it the whole summer. Um, but anyway, that was a disappointing moment. But like the point is this: like we used to have all these hype moments, and ironically, we talk about he's an ultimate battle, whatever.
Yeah,
Is
but they didn't
MK1.
really have streaming like that at the time in the classics, Dave, and stuff like
True,
that.
no,
Let
no,
me
no,
ask
no,
you,
yeah, yeah.
Dave,
It's not.
what is your favorite Mortal Kombat of all time?
Well, I always say
MK1 probably.
based on what
Which
criteria, right? Like Dobson, I'll give you a quick example, and then I want you to opine. Um, a
wait, what's your
car,
favorite Mortal Kombat? What's your favorite Mortal
but by
Kombat of
what
all time?
criteria? By what
Like the
criteria?
game
That,
that
No,
if
I
that you
just
could
want
see
you to
yourself
answer the
playing
question
forever.
like, you just in general, like, just in general.
well, general doesn't mean anything, but what by what standards? Like if you
Which
ask
just
me,
which one's your favorite to play, or which one do you think is the best one?
well, right now MK1. If you had asked me the question 15 years ago, I would say MK9, right? Like so, the point I'm trying to make is that um
But then, real quick, but before that, do you think MK1 is a trash game, and do you think MK9 is a trash game?
like the MK1 classic or the non-classic?
The one that you just answered, the non-classic.
No, absolutely not. I don't think MK1 is a trash game, but MK9, by modern standards, is a trash game. Competitively speaking, right? Not
What?
what you make it out to be.
Well, I mean, that's what we're talking about is competitive speaking. So you think MK9 is a trash game?
Yes,
So
completely.
so what about why don't you think MK1 is a trash game?
Because it's the most polished game to date in terms of patches, in terms of like online gameplay. It's still better than. I mean, look what was just released for God's sake. Like
So do you
MK1.
think so by that answer, do you think every MK before MK1, the most current one, is a trash game?
No, but let me give you just a quick analogy, if I may. Like, um, a car released in I don't know 1995, right? A new car. Well, it was a Cadillac, whatever, BMW, Benz, right? Like that was the thing, right? But it might not have AC. It might not have some of the stuff that we take for granted, right? So you're judging something. You are the guy who said like
Wait, hold on. This
you know,
example makes no sense. You can't compare an old
Yeah.
car back then because it's like whatever car you're trying to say now. Like, oh, I got this nice best car. However, you're leaving out the fact that whatever car you're talking about right now, you need to go to shop, get that shit fixed every week because there's a new patch that has to address something. So
well,
after 1,000 tune-ups, it's finally good. That's a bad
not
example.
necessarily, right?
What do you mean?
You're
All these, at least the new NRS games, they need like 100 patches before people can finally be like, you know what, the game is fun now or good or whatever.
But isn't Dobson the guy who says
Yeah,
that
but Dave,
you
the
are
cars, like, here's the thing about the cars nowadays. You don't need 100 tune-ups for them to be good, like you do with the fighting games.
Dobson
said,
is the guy who said you are a victim of your
yes,
era, right? Well,
yes.
that also it's not just about the players.
Right.
You
No,
also
look, okay. But I'm just saying the
agree
car
on
example is
But by
very
that
bad because
standard- by
what car
that
do you buy
standard,
right now in this
now,
day and age where you have to fix it 1,000 times before you could use it?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
let me
So you can't. I mean, by that standard, you're just kind of saying automatically that whatever the most current game is the not trash, and everything else is trash before it because that's the most current shit out. But like
not
on
necessarily. Not
Rio's point,
necessarily.
this game that's the most current one out is on its like 1,000th patch,
Yeah.
Well, just like you're
Imagine
and it's still
UMK3
trash
had
in my
100
opinion.
patches like the new games had. Do you think UMK3
get
wouldn't
it.
all of a sudden become a good game?
Let me finish my point. Just like Dobson says, you are a victim as a player of your era. You're also a victim
I agree
of
with that.
the
I'm just
game.
saying the car example was bad because cars nowadays, you don't need 100
Well,
tune-ups for them to work. The new ones.
Because
You buy them.
like some of these older games they all have their problems, but I think they're all better than MK1, and MK1's the
So,
newest
in
one
my
out.
opinion, if you want to compare new games to older games, you got to keep it fair. Compare one of the very early versions of MK1 to UMK3. How
but
are
you
the
guys
games?
use you guys use the technology argument it favors you. Like, okay, if MK9 had been patched a million times, I don't know, maybe it would have been, but it wasn't. You guys are talking about hypotheticals to bring up your argument, but that's not what happened. The
Right, but
game was
Dave, the reason why I'm saying this, otherwise I wouldn't have, is because you brought the car example. If you didn't bring up the car example, I wouldn't have to say this.
well. The car example is perfect because again,
No, it's not.
something
Okay, so when you get a new car these days, you have to fix it 1,000 times, a million patches before you can finally use it. And there's no issues, really.
well, I mean,
No.
The
usually
cars are
not.
that badly made now in today's time.
Well, it's a facet of the technology that we have available, right? That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that games right now, how are you going to perceive them? You may not like the meta, and I completely understand. Like, I don't want to rant about this for another 30 minutes, but like a lot of people don't like assist games. They don't like the cameo system. And by the way, I'm usually on their side. But what I'm saying is that, dude, let's be serious here. Most of the older games have not aged well. And just a quick example, guys, think about
It's
how
just
many
personal
fighting.
preference, though, Dave.
No,
It's just
I agree.
subjective.
But let me just say this real quick. How many fighting games have been released in the past 30 years? Probably 1,000 plus, right? How many do people still play? 10. 10 out of 1,000.
Yeah,
10
like
what is it,
mainstream wise,
first
sure,
strike?
but a
Some
lot
of
of these
those-
fighting
some
games
of
have
those-
inner
No, no, no,
circles. They have a
no,
lot of inner
not
circles
Exactly.
behind them.
no, not mainstream. Third strike, like people have proven to be. I don't even like third strike, but people have actually proven like if there's a tournament, people are actually willing to travel for the game, and it will even compete, if not beat, most of the modern games. Third
That's
strike.
because
Are,
Capcom supports their classic games, dude, and they don't go around saying
no,
their old
yes,
games were trash and this game's good and this like they support all their games.
there are
That's what
plenty
the
of
MK
people.
community needs to do.
Dobson, there are many of people who call Third Strike bad, as well as Super Turbo.
Sure,
But
sure.
those games have community, a community that's been growing for many, many years. And what I'm saying is that these older games, very few, very, very few have Third Strike by modern standards. Like it's highly unbalanced, but I understand why people like it. I can also understand why people like MK2, right, and stuff like that.
Well,
But
that was another point you made that I thought wasn't good was you tried to compare Super Turbo to MK2 and you tried to say Super Turbo is better. Like they're two totally different games, dude. That's like saying football is better than baseball. Like it's not apples to apples in my
the
opinion.
meta,
Like
it's not apples to apple, but the meta is very similar.
they're
Like what
two
you're,
totally different games,
Dave, characters don't even
it's
play
not
the
even
same.
right
And
to
then, like,
compare.
you have a character that's unblockables in MK2 that doesn't exist in
no, I
ST.
mean, okay,
Then you
but
have
I
to
think
Dude,
you have
by
to
and
back to
large,
block in ST, but then MK just has a block button. And
what is
in
by and
MK2 you get combos of anti-airs that doesn't work in ST. Like the games are pretty
you're
different.
just I think you're trying to just kind of mainly argue off the numbers, but again, Capcom has always heavily supported their
I'm not. I don't
classics.
even like Third
And
Strike. I'm not
NRS
arguing.
has not done that. But but NRS just hasn't supported their classics. So they just haven't had
Is
as ample opportunities as Super Turbo and some of these Capcom games to have their communities. And
Dobson,
also, there's a
people,
lot of toxicity in some of these MK communities that just
Dobson,
it needs to go.
the Third Strike is most played. What? It's not the most played on PS5. It's the most played on Fightcade. That's because it's not a quality of game thing in the sense of does the game have the best online, right? Because the community actually likes the game and they're playing it. Again, I repeat, I'm not biased. I don't even like Third Strike. I think the game sucks, right? But like, if you go by what makes the game survive in the sense of an evolutionary perspective, it's the community. There's almost no question. So it's not the fact that Third Strike is the best online ever made, because it doesn't. It's that the fact that the community, there are enough people who support the game
Right.
worldwide
Yeah,
who want
but
to
they've
play it.
got the
But it,
opportunities to
yeah,
do that. They've got the exposure. They're not split on things like glitch jabs and shit like that. Like, the MK
Yeah,
community
they're
hasn't
not,
had the
because the game.
exposure that Third Strike has. It's not even close. Like NRS doesn't support the classics. It's really unfortunate, dude, and that's the backbone of their whole IP.
And Rise doesn't support even the modern games. If you look at the way that they cut their support short for Mortal Kombat 1, not the classic, the modern game. So again, I believe it's the community saying, look, Third Strike is a very flawed game. There's literally an hour of video talking about its flaws, but it also talks about why people
Yeah, it
like the
has its
game.
flaws,
Yeah, absolutely, of course it
has
does.
its
but
problems and
Dave, the new
issues, just
MK1
like
also
yeah,
has its flaws. Like, I mean, every game has
right,
its
Yeah,
flaws.
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
Why are we
But
counting flaws for certain games, but then saying the
I'm
newer
counting.
ones doesn't matter?
All I'm saying is
Right.
that there are enough people for Third Strike or Super Turbo in a pool of 1,000 plus games that have been released, maybe even 2,000 over the last 30 years. Those are the games that people play. Like,
Right, but you got
it's
to
like,
ask yourself, why are people playing Thirster? Why does Thirster have a community behind it? Is it just the
well, I think
game, or is it that also other things around the game?
like never in life is there usually like one solution to every problem, right? It's a multitude of things, and I believe Third Strike has, to an extent, aged very well in a contemporary sense, right? Because the game is about footsies, etc., etc. And even though it's highly unbalanced, there's a more intuitive factor than a game like Ultimate, which has glitch outs, which its own community, like you guys will talk about like arguments, its own community has been trashing the game. Third Strike is not trashed by its own community. Why don't you mention that?
I see your points there, Dave, but I have to say that the classics will stand the test of time regardless. These are the classic games of the IP. They're the backbone of Mortal Kombat. They're why it is where it is, and they'll never die. The classics never die.
I think when we will find agreement is in the sense that forget the meta, right? What's glitch abs or the parry system in Third Strike, or the uh, powerful fireballs in Super Turbo, or MK2 for that matter. We ask of developers for those five things that Rio keeps mentioning, and we will please, 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 if you could implement those things, so we can grow a larger scene and let the people decide what they want to play. Isn't that fair?
Right, but Dave, it's kind of confusing because what we were talking about earlier makes it seem like the game is the problem, like the meta and how it plays. But now you're saying more of like this
Well,
other stuff. So
not
what is exactly is the problem? Is the problem that Legacy Collection sucks and a lot of people can't play the game as they can, or is it that the game is not good fundamentally?
well. It there's a fundamentally a preference thing, which Dobson
Meta
alluded.
preference.
Yeah, but there's a preference thing, but there's also a subject. I'm sorry, an objective argument to be made about. Look, dude, if you don't have private lobbies on your release, it doesn't matter if you have the best game of all time.
Okay, so it's a
People,
combination of things for
yeah,
for
it's a
you.
combination of things. And again, there is some objectivity. I would say that for most people, they probably prefer the third strike system over a game in which you can attack and block at the same time. But again, I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But
but
just give me a
a
number.
lot of people are playing Street Fighter because they like Street Fighter, and a lot of people are playing Mortal Kombat because they like Mortal Kombat.
No,
Like I
correct.
play
Well,
both personally, but
no, so do I. So do I. But
So
anyway, guys, I
wait,
think
so wait, what do you exactly not like about Third Strike? Because you said you don't think it's a good game. Why do you
I
say
don't
that?
I
really
think
like Third
any,
Strike either. I like Street Fighter, but what I don't like about personally, Third Strike is I don't like being able to parry in the air. I feel like in Street Fighter, if you're in the air, you should be able to get Dragon Punched or anti-aired, something like that. That's what I don't like about Alpha either, is you can air block. Those are my main gripes with like Alpha and Third Strike.
What about you, Dave?
I don't like I think any 2D fighting game that limits fireballs to such a large extent. I feel like the 3D games make a much better uh, effort of playing the footsies, like in a three-dimensional setting. So I like Super Turbo, for example, and I completely understand why many people don't, because the fireballs are very strong in certain matchups. I feel like Third Strike kind of ruins that entirely.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
there's some
Zoning
characters that have
is
good
nil in
fireballs in
Strike.
Third Strike. There's some characters that have good fireballs in Third Strike.
Yeah,
Third Strike.
Idea.
The zoning is super weak in Third Strike.
Well, I know Rio will deny
Like,
it.
okay, well, you can't win just by running away throwing fireballs, but there are some characters that do have good fireballs in their gameplay. So if
The
you like
meta
fireballs,
is
you could use those
that-
characters.
The meta is essentially, if you're a character like Chun-Li and Ken, their fireballs are not that relevant to their gameplay. The reason why
Right,
they're
but then
best,
what about characters like Akuma who do have good air fireballs?
well, I think he's a mid-tier character. And by the way, this is a highly unbalanced
He's like upper
game.
mid.
Well,
I
the
feel like
characters who
he's about
usually
mid-tier, middle of the
Yeah,
road in my
yeah.
opinion.
No, I agree with you, Dubson. I think it's like Yun. Did you see uh, a lot? Which, but again, all the stuff is
Yun,
very high.
Chun-Li, Ken,
Yeah,
and then you have
Chun-Li,
Urian, Dudley,
Yeah,
Makoto.
Yuri, again, nothing to do
Gang
with
is good.
fireball. Nothing to do with none of these guys have anything to do with fireballs. Yun is strong because he essentially has unblockables.
I get what you're
you already
saying, Dave, but
know.
this is like the highest level play. If you were to play Third Strike, you could easily just play Remy if you want and throw fireballs away, because that's literally all the character does.
Okay, but I'm not judging the game by low level play. I'm judging the game at the highest
But
level.
Dave, like,
Yeah.
but you have to understand they've got to start somewhere. If you were to get into Third Strike, you should be playing Remy.
I wouldn't, because why would I waste my time on a game?
Because you just said what you
and I-
wanted to do. You want to throw fireballs and have fun. There you go. There's a character that literally does that in the game.
But I know, but
Are
why
you
would
going
I?
to be beating the S rank Chun-Li's and Yuns with him? No, but I mean, you're probably never going to get there anyway.
Dubson, do you see his flaws in his argument? Like he
No,
always,
like I get
we
what Dave
always-
is saying, but he's acting like there's no fireball character you could touch and play to have fun with. Like that's completely false.
Dude, why would I play the game when I play Super Turbo and actually pick Dawson and actually zone
Yeah,
people?
no, I'm not saying
And-
it's played over, but I'm saying, you know, like Third Strike, if
I
you were to
don't.
play,
I
you
have
could
no
definitely have fun with it.
No, I wouldn't, because why would I waste my time on a game again that's very difficult to play? Pull all of this word, you mastered it, bitch. Guess what? Your fireballs are
What is
useless
that?
now. Psych. That's literally what.
What do you
Rio does
mean? No,
not
wait, hold
stop.
on. Remy's fireball is not useless when you parry it. That's false. That's literally
Okay,
the only
well,
good movie.
here's-
The reason why he's
What?
bottom tier, and I'll tell you why. The
Okay,
reason why Remy sucks in third is not because his fireballs suck. It's because he has like no combos. He has low stun meters, easy to stun. He has terrible footsies. He has awful combos. He has like whatever supers. That's why he's bad, not because of his fireballs are actually good.
I do
The
feel like
characters-
charged characters are weaker in general in Third Strike because of the parry mechanic.
Yeah, and let's be serious here. And this comes back down to preference. Third Strike was designed like that on purpose, right? Because people who play Super Turbo was like, dude, oh my god, the fireballs are way too strong, right? Like
That's what they did with Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 1. Same thing. They
exactly.
always try to change the meta.
exactly. So the games, but Rio's like denying all this stuff. Like I don't know.
I'm
what
not,
reason,
dude.
like,
I never said fireballs are the meta or any of this in Third Strike. I'm just saying, hey
I
man, there's
know
a few
that's
characters
all-
that use fireballs in their game. Like Akuma's one of them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Remy,
All
you
I'm
could throw a
saying-
lot of them,
Opposite
but
side of the coin.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, for my preference, they're
Dave,
much.
all
much
I'm
better
saying
options.
is that if we were at a tournament and there's someone just there was Third Strike there, like, hey, you want to play some games? There would be a character for you to pick and play. That's all I'm saying. Let's not act like
Well,
there's no
no,
character in the game that throws fireballs.
I would never play the game of turn. Why would I play a game of turn that's
Not even for
essentially
fun. I mean, it's
No,
fair. I mean, you don't
why
have to
would I-
play.
a game that kicks me in the nuts for trying to play the way I play, and I feel the same way about not just about Third Strike, but other games. I think the game is massively
Bro,
overrated.
first of all, to shut down Remy zoning like that and counter that, you have to like actually play the game and be good at
I
it. No
understand.
random's gonna be going like, oh, let me do this, and now
I
you
know,
can
but
never use a
people who
fireball.
enter tournament- like people who enter tournaments at that level, I assume, like at Evo, the top 64 were like they will know what they're doing. So why would I waste my time? If I played a game, I would probably use Urian or or Yun, or like characters who are actually like part of the meta that I can just vortex people with. Like that's what I would do. Why would I use?
Well,
use
good
this
luck
fireball?
playing Yun because he requires like you playing the game for a very long time to get
Well,
to get him
I
down.
don't play. This obviously the skill ceiling is very high for a meta that doesn't suit me, and I don't choose to play it. I think that's a perfectly
Right, but like when I play Third Strike, I play Q. Like I'm not expecting to, let me start beating all these players. Like I'm just playing for fun, and Q for me kind of fills that void. Like it's fun when I play. I'm not expecting to do anything in the game. For you, I feel like you could do that with literally Remy or Akuma.
Well, you've known me for years. I play games that favor me. I play Deception.
Right, and if you get into Third Strike and you invest your time into it and you start taking it seriously competitively, then yeah, I could see you probably would become a Chun-Li player because she kind of can slow the game down and play more of a footsie game. That's more your style.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point, right? I play MK9 because of Freddy. I play MK1 because I feel like there's an armor meta, just like an MKX, that I can be good with. I'm not gonna waste my time putting all this hours into a game for a meta that never favors me. I think it's a waste of time. And by the way, if you guys feel like, oh my god, Super Turbo, all fireballs, don't play the game. It's not you. Play something else. And by the way, Third Strike players, when they go back into like Street Fighter 6 and other like metas in which fireballs play, they have no idea what they're doing. They immediately quit and whine. And I think that kind of proves my point. Because they're so used to the parry system being the way it is, they have no idea what they're doing.
Well, that's just how a lot of people are. Well, they usually have a favorite game. They tend to go, and then when they strive off of it, they tend to see things that they miss from their game that they do play a lot, but they they don't join whatever game they move to. So really quick, let me ask you guys one last question, and then we'll wrap it up. In terms of Legacy Collection, let's say they release a patch next week. It fixes all the problems. It fixes the online, fixes the delay on all consoles. It adds private rooms, adds a ranked, all that. Do you see it saving the game, and now everybody's going to come back to play it? We'll start with you, Tom.
If they patch it when?
If they were to release a patch next week and address all issues and fix it, do you see it saving the game, and will everybody come back?
Well, everybody is back. You mean a new player is going to try it?
Well, I mean, all the people that bought it or that refunded it, will they come back to play it, or is it just done? Even if they were to do this next week,
it depends. If it is featured in tournaments, then yes, because people will see it. If it's not, if TNS doesn't care, Coliseum doesn't do it, it's almost got to replace MK1.
Do you feel that they can't coexist, MK1 and Legacy? Like it's got to be one or the other?
No, what I mean is they need to piggyback off each other because they both need each other's audiences. At least this game needs the MK1 audience. So no, because there's no crossplay. So you really can't feature it anywhere because I mean, there's no lobbies. It's going to be tough.
But I'm saying if they added lobby, crossplay, rank, all of that stuff in a patch next week, like let's say they surprised us, would you feel like, okay, now this is good, everyone's going to come back?
Yeah,
or
I feel like
people just kind of moved on?
I feel like it has a chance if they do all that.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Dave? And then we'll go to our guest.
I cannot speak for others. For myself, yes, I would play it. I would focus on MK2, and to a lesser extent,
you'd probably like MK3 also. And wait,
yeah, I was about to say. I was about to say anything that gets me away from this monotonous glitch chat meta that I've seen that makes me fall asleep while I'm watching the game. I'm okay. And please, if they gonna add stuff and improve stuff, please add the N64 version if possible of MK Trilogy. That's the game I actually want to play the most. But in terms of like, would everybody come back? I don't know. I still think it's probably too late. And as Tom alluded to, I don't think the MK community is as large as the Capcom community to be able to like play all these different games with somewhat large audiences in tournaments. I mean, if Tekken cannot sustain Tekken 7, Tekken 8, then why should Mortal Kombat?
Well, see, that's different because it's kind of like two main games, like Tekken 8. Whereas this is like the classics are separate from the newer game. They're like their own separate game.
Look, man, a lot of people like Tekken 7. Why aren't they playing it? They want to play like.
Well, it's because kind of like Tekken 8 continues off Tekken 7 in a way. That's why.
Right.
Not really. I mean, it has.
But I'm saying no, but it'd be weird if Capcom is like.
3.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It'd be weird if like Namco is like Tekken World Tour. We have Tekken 8 and Tekken 7. They'd be like, "What are you guys doing? This is the newest game, you know?" I feel like it wouldn't fly.
What did I tell you the last time? Like Nothing is stopping from a guy like like Mr. Aquaman, the Demon Lobby, Rips Arena, except
Oh,
they
you're
can
talking about the
post.
community, not like the
Yes,
company behind it. Like, okay, I see what you're saying.
Ab- it's all about the community, man. It's not about these companies. They're not gonna do shit until they think they can make a profit. So yes, it's about the Mr. Aquas of the world, whether however you feel about them or not, it's irrelevant. They are the ones keeping these games in the spotlight to whatever small extent, whatever small quantity that is, you know, that is appropriate.
Right. So you feel that the ship has sailed, basically. Like if they did fix this all next week, a lot of people have kind of moved on.
Next week, I'm gonna stay optimistic and say yes. But it's I think it's a impossible hypothetical that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think they have January 1st to fix it before it's done with everybody. What about you,
Yeah.
Dubson?
Man, I think honestly, with the way it launched, it just left a really bad taste in people's mouth, and the way Digital Eclipse went about everything was just so shady that I don't have much hope for the Legacy Collection. So, I mean, I hope they put a ranked system in there and stuff like that, but like I just don't understand why they would launch the game like this. I don't think they are going to polish it as well as it deserves. So, I think this was just like I kind of feel like they're washing their hands of it as soon as possible, and it's just a quick cash grab.
Yeah, it seems like a cash trap. Can we all agree though that they need to put a rank before January? Otherwise, it's pretty much done.
Yeah,
Of
it's done.
course, it should have been in the game yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
Without the rank, I can't see this becoming a way a lot of people play it, at least over Fightcade.
well,
No.
private lobbies before even the rank, and then private lobbies first,
Yeah,
then
but at
the
least if we
rank.
had a rank right now, even though we didn't private, at least we could, some of us could still be playing
The
right now. But
the
man, you don't
yeah,
have both.
Fair enough,
right. The
fair enough.
problem with the private lobbies before the ranked is that, if we're talking about the competitive scene, if there's no ranked ever, then it just has no chance. Even with private lobbies, and you can
Yeah,
have
great
tournaments
point.
with private
Yeah.
lobbies, it could maybe be okay on a casual level, but like to get the popularity that we would like, the mainstream, TNS was going to run it. It needs to have a rank system for the players to grind and get better and get into the game on a competitive level. If it just has private lobbies, if it does not have a ranked, it doesn't have a chance for that, in my
Well,
opinion.
even the input delay, the reduction, I would, I mean, there's like so many
Right,
issues that
right,
again
right.
we discussed. Like, I think that would be first, and I mean, you guys could take a step down the ladder. How are you want to,
Fixing the audio too, so when we play the game, we don't have to play it on mute.
thank you.
That's
That's
kind of
another one. I mean,
ridiculous.
there's so
That's
many issues.
absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know why people are
Yes.
going like, man, it's not a problem. Just play and like mute the TV or listen to music. It's like, no, I want to listen to the game
No,
I just
dude,
paid $50 for.
exactly. And as
I
soon as you
know.
go up against an invisible robot smoke or an invisible reptile, you'll understand why you'd
Yeah,
want to
you
have
will.
at least the fighting mechanics on.
Yeah, you hear Robot Smoke do his teleport punch, so you know when to punish. You don't have audio now. Good luck. You don't know what the hell he's doing.
Yeah. That makes them really strong in a tournament environment. Sometimes I like to listen to the soundtrack OST. Sometimes I like to listen to my own music. So, like, one good thing about the modern ports is that you can just turn down the soundtrack and you can still have the game sound effects and you can make your own soundtrack. So, you can do that. But, like, playing on mute is just straight garbage and that's inexcusable, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear people saying, let's say they do patch it like in a week or whenever, and they add private lobbies, this and that. I don't want to hear people going, hey guys, the game is saved, everything's fine. And no, until I see a ranked mode, this is not going to
Yeah.
survive
For me,
longer than January. It's done.
yeah.
They don't care
I
enough to
totally,
want people to
completely
play their
agree.
game, grind it, get competitive at it, and become good at it, then it has no chance. People will
Yeah,
just go back to
totally agree.
Fightcade, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right, do you guys have any closing statements to make?
I'm good.
I'm
Tom?
good.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't understand. I've never the community. I think in general, these are just very divisive times,
Right.
and it's still like the negative side on the positive side, which is just fucking stupid. I mean, and this notion that players hate the game because they're salty and blah blah blah. Well, now you have OGs who will literally stomp the stuffing out of any newer player trying to learn these games for the first time. So, and they're upset with the way things are. Why? Because they're salty, they're not winning. So we see that narrative was a complete lie. That, these older players, they just can't hack it in the modern era, they're salty. Lie. Because even when they can stomp the modern player, they're still like, hey, the product isn't good. So, for one, it definitely exposes the biggest lie ever told. Um, but the main issue is a lot of that is still happening. Even when we know for a fact the product isn't good, the community is split. And I don't even know why. I think the community is so in the mode of who can we bust complaining and crying. They're literally willing to let a product go into the toilet, which will significantly hurt the Mortal Kombat scene. I would encourage all players to try these games. I would also encourage the classic communities to be a little more inclusive. Like in your niche era, you have not been very welcoming to young players. You know, I'm not saying all of you, but a lot of older players have had it's not been very inclusive. However, you're going to have to be more inclusive than you've ever been because you've got to get newer players into the game. There's just no way your scenes are going to survive. And what this really also shows is that when people like to say, oh, the casual player is better than the tournament player, well, look at UMK3. UMK3 had 20 plus years of all tournament players and no casuals, and it never got off the ground. That just goes to show you that your audience, the people that populate tournaments that allow your game to be featured, you got to get those people into the game. You got to be inclusive. You got to show them how fun the game is. When you allow or when you split the message of the game is playable, is it not playable? It's not playable. And all the complexities of classic Mortal Kombat are kind of go by the wayside. Also, to you players who in the classic community now, not a single man, woman, or child will want to play Mortal Kombat 1, the original Mortal Kombat 1, the way it's played right now. Not at all. I mean, so you have to make a decision. Either your game will never be played again, or figure out something that would make people want to play it. That just is what it is. You can sit here on your moral high ground, and I understand it's in the game. Use it. That's fine. But if there's no one to play it, it'll be in the game against the computer. And it'll just be you and Roseville Reaper for the rest of eternity. So I think, for one, MK1 is doomed unless the MK1 community can figure something out, because nobody in their right mind want to play it. UMK3 players, consider having MK3 played as much as UMK3. Definitely, I think the UMK3 players are the most standoffish. They're the most unwelcoming for newer players. At least they have been over the years. Not saying all, because guys like Jugs have been very welcoming, but a lot of them aren't. You've got to be patient with these newer players. You've got to teach them. You've got to show them why the game is complex. MK4 is fucked. It'll never be played again. It probably should never be played again, unfortunately, as much as I loved it. Okay, but issues are way deeper than that. What are the issues, Averk? I don't know what issues. I mean, I think we pretty know what the issues are, but the game has shitty online, and it's got bad input delay. That's a huge problem. But obviously the community, we can't control that. Like, we can't control what we need digitally clips for. Yeah, we can't control that product. We can't control it. What I'm saying is, for the community, is we've got to stop this. Is it good? Is it bad? Because the message has got to be the digital clips. This game will never get off the ground if it's not fixed immediately. And when people sit there and say, online's fine for me, I don't know what's wrong with you guys, it's not fine. If it's fine for one person, for some reason, there's 100 people it's not fine for. So, I mean, we just only to agree the game is not fine. there is input delay. The online is unplayable. For some people that say, oh, the offline is supposed to be good, people are having lots of fun playing it offline. The offline fucking sucks too. I don't care what anybody says. It sucks. It's absolute garbage.
Well, Dave linked the poster that said people tried to run a tournament offline for this and it crashed multiple times.
Yeah, offline is absolute garbage. Also, like think of what this game has. You have the ability to play like the console. Like I saw Fate looking to play like the Genesis. He calls it Mega Drive version. That's what it was over there of like I think MK2 or whatever it was, or MK3, and you just can't find people to play. Like there's just I mean, like even some of the people that would have fond memories of, oh man, I'd love to. Man, I remember the Super Nintendo version. Man, I played that game constantly. I'd love to find someone to play in it finally, and you can't because there's not enough people to populate the online.
And no crossplay. I couldn't find a game when I tried playing MK3. They got to add a way where you could search multiple games at a time instead of one, because searching one at a time is not very good for this.
Averix says, I'll be honest, I think the issue is as a community, people shouldn't buy it so they know people won't pay full price for trash. That is kind of like the issue here. How many incomplete products are you going to get sold?
Right.
And just like in MK1, it's half NRS, half WB. I think Dave makes a great point when he says, listen, the gameplay stuff, obviously you go to NRS for, but the fact that the game took so long to get crossplay, there were no lobbies, you can't search, you can't do practice search while you're in practice mode. There's no practice while you're queuing in rank. There's no individual character rankings. You have to, and this is going to a point of Rio, say Ninja Killer wants to play the game and like he's like doing Kombat League and streaming and he gets one character to Elder God and he's like, okay guys, I'm going to get every character to Elder God. Well, you know what he has to do now? Now Ninja Killer is going to create a new PSN because he has to create a new one for each character. He's going to start at the lowest rank. Then some guy who just bought the game that day is going to get online and play Ninja Killer, get the stuffing beat out of him and say, you know what? I think I'm going to return this game. I don't want to play it. You know, so a lot of these features, at least in online, that are missing in MK1, coincidentally are missing in this game. And we know games like Capcom 30th Anniversary Collection launched with these modes in it. The common denominator is Warner Brothers. So on that, we see, obviously, this is not all NRS's fault because we see some of these issues here. But the first year of the game, playing like absolute trash, that is on NRS. And this game and the input lag and all that stuff, that's on Digital Eclipse. We've got to stop acting like it's good enough. You know, like, oh, well, at least we got this. Give them some time. Give them 6 months. Give them a year. And what happens is they'll take that time, but they'll charge you full price for everything. They didn't wait. They're not waiting God knows how many months or weeks to take your $50. You know, so I think we definitely have got to. You guys are complaining, and me and Jugs had fun.
Base just said, just got done playing Jugs for an hour. LOL, had 0 issues. LOL. And then Jugs says his paragraph.
Well, Base, I got bad news for you. I hope you plan on playing Jugs and only Jugs for the rest of your life whenever you go on the PlayStation, because you won't find anybody else. Base, if you have it your way, this game has no shot. 0. None. No hope. Vince McMahon theme song. No chance in hell. None. So if you guys want to listen to Base, this game is as good as dead. And it will never grow. So let's just hope that Base is wrong.
Yeah, we got to keep the bar high. We can't. Yeah, we got to stop this.
Yeah. So, well, Base is the one beating the drum of it's got no issues, man. No issues for me, dog. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, no, bro.
It's not even close. It's not even close to good.
Jugs,
it's not even.
It's just trolling. There's no way he actually is being for real.
Dude, how many people, Jugs, do we have to see? See how dumb this is?
I think they're trying to be optimistic, but that optimism is what's going to kill this.
Can you imagine somebody showing a video of the most unplayable online match and Base going, it's fine for me though, dog. Oh, well, that will just motivate him to keep playing because good old Base is having good online matches.
Also,
No.
if you see the people that are making it see that, they'll be like, "Well, someone's saying it's fine, so maybe it is fine," you know, and then they won't try to fix
Right.
it. That's a huge red flag.
So, I mean, like, dude, can you imagine somebody having the worst online known experience known to man? And Base goes, I mean, my matches don't look like that. I don't know what your problem is. Base is like, hey, what's that internet connection, dog? And he's like, uh, 100 down, 70 up. Base is like, psh,
Yeah, well, to be
must
fair, I
not be
think they
good.
played on the Xbox version because Juggernaut has it for Xbox, so I heard that's not as bad as the PlayStation. PlayStation 1 is the one that's extremely bad in terms
I
of
think they
delay.
both played on PS5, actually.
Oh, they played on PS5? Okay, never mind. Then I'm surprised they said the delay was good, or at least in
Also,
the
why was
online
there no
match.
command list for half the games? Yeah. So there's first of all, the quality of life also has to get fixed. One, like Maximilian was going like, hey, what are this character's combos? Those moves are not in there. Also, when you go online, whatever your offline input delay is
Yeah.
set to does not match your online input delay. And it's kind of, there's speculation that it's not really mapping up properly. Whatever you set your input delay to isn't actually what it is when you go online. Also, whatever you set your visual options to offline, when you go in online mode, you got to reset those visual options to that again. Whenever you leave a game, it takes you back out to the main menu. I mean, like, it's not very convenient, is what I mean to say.
Yeah, the filters need to be addressed. How you have to keep doing it for every game when you play. I think they need to add an option in the main menu where it says remove filters for all versions of the games you play, because that's annoying.
Base says PS5. I mean, butter smooth, zero lag, zero audio issues. It was money. Base, you sound like the guy who grows up eating Chef Boyardee, and then he goes to McDonald's one day and thinks it's a gourmet restaurant because he's used to Chef Boyardee beefaroni. I mean, I think it's true. I think what Rio's saying is right. Base has played in some of the most shit connections, no, shit internet
Well,
connections
Base
ever.
used to like the Xbox Live version of MK3, and I think he's only played that and Arcade Collection. And MAME, so I mean, there's not a lot for him to base on. I don't think Base plays a lot of the other games that have really good netcode.
Yeah. Dude, literally, Base could probably play in the worst connection known to man, and he'd say it was fine for me, dog. You just gotta, adapt. That's just Base. I mean, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's not good for most people. That's not people's experience base. That's what I don't understand. Like, people will say one thing, and Base is like zero issues for me. But how many people are telling you there are issues for them? So it doesn't matter that you don't have any issues. Good for you. I'm happy for you. But for the rest of Earth, that isn't their experience. I mean,
No, it's actually good. I'm glad you guys had an enjoyable set. I'm not saying it doesn't count.
I mean,
Because he said, can you please be happy for me and Jugs that we are enjoying ourselves playing MK?
Can you please
Yeah,
be
we want
happy?
everybody to enjoy MK. We also want to enjoy it
we
too.
want everyone to enjoy it. Base, can you please be happy because you and Jugs are the only people that will ever be playing this on PS5 ever again? I mean, it doesn't sound like happy times, Base. I played it yesterday. Some it was absolutely awful. MK2 is absolutely awful.
Yeah, to me, it's
Absolutely
awful.
We're being a little negative. Base, this game is going to die like tomorrow if something isn't done.
I give it till
This is
January.
don't seem to
Then
understand. Younger players are not coming back. I don't. Sure, the 50-year-olds will come back, but the younger players aren't. They're not. I mean, don't you understand? They're not. If you lose the
younger
younger
players
audience,
they're moving on quick. You got to launch proper.
yeah, if you lose the younger audience, you're fucked. It's over. It's over. Dog, Rio, look at the Steam chart right now. What is what is the concurrent player count right now?
like around 200, which is awful for a new game that just
200.
released on Steam.
200. It just came out. 200 players.
There are more people playing MK11, a game released like 6 years ago, compared to this that just released 4 days ago. Not even a week. 4 days ago. It's down
Max
to just
was
200
1,000.
people.
Do you understand that means it lost 80% of its audience?
Yeah, and also not even that, but a lot of people refunded it, which I don't think counts for the max. I think there was more than just 1,000 people that bought it. A lot of them refunded it. Like a lot of people were saying they did. Those probably. I wonder how many people refunded. Maybe half of the people. What do you think? Like, do you think it maybe sold 2,000
I
people
think
bought
there
for
was
PC?
a lot of refunds.
Yeah, because I saw a lot of reviews and people even tweeting like, "Oh, I refunded it. It's not worth playing PC. This and that."
Well, I think the good news is that there's so much pressure and press on this right now that there is a chance that they might try and save face or meet half of the expectations, in somewhat of a
Base, I don't want
reasonable
to play
time
it
frame.
anymore until it gets fixed. Period. Like
I don't
I'm
either, dude.
done with it.
Yeah, I honestly don't
even
want to
wanna
play
touch
it
it.
until they give a Kombat League rank because really, there's no point in me popping in to play. I'll just
Yeah, if
play.
there's no ranked,
That's the
I'd rather
connection
just play
because, you know,
Fightcade once a week,
Yeah.
or literally re-download MK1 and play that because at least that game has a Kombat
Base
League rank.
is coming from the point of view is let's test the connection, Tom. That's where we got a good connection. Base is like, hey, dog, it was good against me, but base the other 99 people, it wasn't good against. So, is the only human I'm going to
Yeah,
play
but
is
Jugs,
base?
here's the thing, Jugs. It takes more than them just fixing everything. We want things like ranked. Did they say that they're going to add that? Because if they don't, then what's the point of playing this? A lot of us don't really see a reason if there's not a proper rank system.
yeah, without a ranked, I won't be on it.
Yeah, you need like crossplay, you need ranked.
Is it playable or not? Because what I'm
None of the
seeing is
Capcom collections have
here's what it looks
crossplay,
like to
so
me.
I don't
In
know
the
if they'll have
chat,
that, but
randomly, Base and Jugs will come in here and be like, yeah, great matches, dog. Oh, so it is fine? No, we're not saying it's fine, but you just said it was fine. You had great matches with no issues. No, issues need to be addressed. Okay, so it's not really playable? No, not really. I mean, it needs to be, okay, an hour later. Hey, dog, that shit was fire. No issues. So, I mean, like,
So
I don't
confused
know.
on
It
this
doesn't make,
combo.
it doesn't make any sense.
Are you guys okay if I wrap it up here?
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, it's cool.
All right, guys, this has been episode 48. Thank you so much for watching. Shout outs to Dubson, the guest, for being on. Thank you to my co-hosts, M2 Dave and MK Tom Brady as well. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys feel like this can be saved? Is it too late? And what do you think needs to happen? See you guys in the next episode.